Hello, everyone. I do believe we are live at the moment. And I've got the stream open in the background tab. That's clever of me. There we go. One day I'll stop doing that. One day I will have a non-scuffed stream. Hello, everybody. I apologize for the few minutes you had to wait for me, but I was quite busy. I had to... Today has been a very, very, very annoying day. I just realized I have not even pinged the Discord about me live streaming. I'm just in a great situation today, aren't I? I'm just doing so many things wrong. Give me one moment. So today has been a wonderful combination of different factors. Factor one has been that I have been trying to get the new forum, self-hosted forum, working today, which is going reasonably. We are making distinct progress. I do think that we will have something good up soon. I have all the files imported over onto... Well, it's not a current backup. It's from like last week. But it is good enough for a stress test that I hope to be able to get done by the 30th or so. Maybe, I mean, I'm aiming for a bit earlier. But we should be okay. We should be okay, guys. And, overall, I started doing that, got a bit of the way through, and then somebody phoned me up and said, hey, can you do something for me tonight with, with no warning or whatsoever. And the time they wanted to do stuff was the exact same time that the guy who is currently helping me to set up the new forum was available. So that was damn fun. That was so great. Oops. There we go. I've actually posted myself on Twitter for a change. But, yeah, then we got into working on the forum for a little bit and realized that I didn't have the proper configuration files, but fortunately my assistant was able to supply me with them immediately, which was very good. Let me just ping everybody on the Discord too, because I'm an amazing person. Live now, definitely didn't forget. Definitely didn't forget until after going live. You get some typing ASMR in. And also, V-Reverie is just collapsing today as well. I originally intended this stream to cover a fairly wide variety of topics, but I think it would be... I would not be the incredibly... incredibly hard-edged, cutting-edge VTuber journalist that I am, of course, if I didn't immediately go to the thing that is literally happening live as we speak, more or less. I also do apologize in advance if my voice is not as good as normal, and if I do the Pipkin Pippa sniff every so often, because I have a mild cold. Fortunately, it has mostly gone away, but yeah, my voice is still not perfect in any way. But, yeah, as I was saying, V-Reverie is just falling to bits. Let me just find the most recent, or the earliest post of it. So that's today. Yep, pretty much this is the start right here. It was yesterday that things kind of kicked off by my time zone, but it was fairly late in the day already. Now, those of you who don't know much about V-Reverie, V-Reverie is a company that started fairly recently, and it was honestly pretty damn good. Like, I like all of V-Reverie's models a great deal. I don't think they had any kind of misses when it came to that department. Let me just switch over. And about just a month or two ago, when was the first post in this thread? I forget. So yeah, September 17th. Oh, was that September or was it not yet? No, December 17th. December 17th is the date when it all started falling to pieces. So about 2.5 months ago, I think. No, almost 2 months ago, yeah. that just suddenly now Erica and Sherry were both their highest talents overall. They had the biggest numbers, and they just got out of nowhere with no warning whatsoever just decided to quit. And since then, there have been several more graduations, and one of their largest remaining talents, who I personally quite liked. I quite like Rana a lot. She's got a nice bit of spice to her. I think she first caught the forum's attention when she was clipped, like, yelling at one of the VTuber lolcows who turned up in her stream chat and was trying to do the old, ooh, woo, I love you so much. You're such an amazing person. Can I get to know you a little bit better, my beloved Oshi? And she just, like, shut that down instantaneously in a really funny and aggressive way, which immediately gained her an awful lot of respect from me and I think quite a few other forum members, which was nice to see. But yeah, she has an announcement up that is literally going to be live in a couple of hours, probably around the time when I stop streaming. It's funny. It seems to me that, like, the last couple of streams that I've done have almost always coincided with an announcement of some sort. Like, I remember a week or two ago, we had that stream which ended with an announcement from, I think, from Nijisisters. Yeah, that was the Illyra message that I ended stream just before the Illyra message, and then I did like a guerrilla afterwards, talking about it for a bit. And today we have Rana's announcement in about 2 hours. I probably will be more or less finished by that time, so I might stay up and watch that as well. Luminous, I only watch Nova from Vtuber, and because she plays Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I have no interest or knowledge of Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, aside from a few very ancient memes on the internet, but I suppose it's nice to know that some VTuber actually enjoys that weird old thing. I'm just scrolling down through the thread. A lot of the talents have been very active on their PL or alternative accounts as well. That guy from 213 definitely seems to be the MVP, focusing a lot on the drama here. And here we have as well, we have Lilia. How on earth do you pronounce that name? Lilia Prisviel. I'm sorry, that's a terrible name. That is a really awkward name. How can you put an L and an R together? That just makes no sense at all. Sorry. That makes no sense in Japanese. That makes no sense in English. But yeah, she's graduating now, and yeah, people are saying that Nova is going to be the last one standing. This was archived as well. Let me just open up these archives. Yep, Nova, I'm not sure about Nova. Nova seems to be like a ride or die with V-Reverie, because she had these tweets that she now deleted. She said, I have to find out this through Twitter, Lamau. I'm probably going to move tonight's stream to later on this week. And then at this rate, when you guys find out things, I find out too. Yeah, she seems to be a bit more locked out of the loop than the other V-Reverie girls. And I'm not casting any shade, trust me. This is definitely not an Illyra moment or anything. But it seems that this company operates in a very compartmentalized fashion. Our numbers are low. Proctor, bring the shot avatar. No. Everyone just calls her Rhea. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Yep, this is all, like, very strange to me. I have quietly reached out through my amazing connections that I have, that are my tendrils that are now deeply embedded within the VTuber industry as a whole, that feed me vast amounts of knowledge from everything. They say pretty much that, yeah, a lot of stuff is going down, and it's probable that nobody will really talk about it, which is really irritating. I just want somebody. I want to interview one of these people. I even just want them to reach me, to contact me on Twitter. I want people to talk to me in private, and I don't care about clout. I don't care. I mean, obviously, it would be nice to be able to get some kind of interview or whatever, but what really upsets me about all of this is that V-Reverie, when it first started, really had a bit of a shine with it. She had, V-Reverie, for example, I like Sherry. Sherry is great. I quite like Rana. I liked some of the other talents. They had pretty solid CCV. This seemed to be a solid growing company. Too scared of getting dragged to Singapore for court? That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Like, the people in Singapore can rant and rave as much as they bloody well like. Like, they have no real standing internationally. Any court would, I'm certain at this point that any court would throw out these bullshit Singaporean contracts in like 5 seconds. But we see this happen like 3 or 4 times by now. We've seen it with Akio Air. We've seen it with V Reverie now. Is that these companies that seem to be good on the outside just suddenly have these enormous scandals blow up about them. We also had it with Project F, because Project F is still going down. And again, I just want to talk to some of these VTubers and find out what the hell happened. Because when these people leave their companies and are just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it, then it leaves an avenue open for other companies to just do the exact same damn thing. And when you have bad employers that are allowed to get away with this nonsense and are not exposed to any consequences to it, and they are allowed to continue perpetuating these basically what seem to be borderline frauds or scams of VTuber companies that just go up and then fail after like a year or so, that damages the industry as a whole, and it is unfair to new streamers, because I do think that VTubing as a whole is becoming a more grounded entertainment industry that we're seeing, especially in 2024, a lot of people just coming out of the woodwork and saying, yeah, we're going to talk about, I think that the Selene Doki Bird drama is going to be extremely influential, because we have seen so many examples of not just Doki Bird herself, but also other Nijisanji members, people very openly talking about their past lives and the people behind the avatar, as opposed to how they have been in the last few years, where it's all been, so-and-so graduated? Oh, that's terrible. I can't imagine who else they could possibly be. We're just not going to talk about it. Like, everybody knows, but, like, it's rude to talk about it. Like, it's just taboo. It's odd. It's like not showing your ankles or whatever. But I think that bubble needs to burst, and people just need to be honest and be like, yeah, a YouTuber or a VTuber and the persona, the flesh tuber behind it, the pilot, are two different things, and when one graduates, the other just doesn't cease to exist. You should drop this silly charade of just not saying, oh, X was Y in this iteration of their online persona. I don't like that, and I think it's very stupid, because it creates this issue within the fan bases, is that some people who are less connected, people who don't go on Reddit, who don't use Twitter very much, the lucky people, to be honest, they don't realize that these people are still around in different iterations. And yeah, the PL taboo is very anti-talent. I agree. I absolutely agree. Nobody should be ashamed to be associated with their PL account. We have VTubers who, and again, we have plenty of VTubers who do real life stuff alongside the stuff that they do as a character. And if you want to be like a hardcore, yes, I am literally a virtual woman, there is no flesh streamer behind me, if you want to do that kind of wrestling kefabe, then 100% go ahead and do it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing itself. I don't... Last of the Mohicans. Doki Bird plainly exposing that she was Selene in is the VTuber equivalent of the curtain call from wrestling. The bubble is gone now. I agree. And I think that it's a bubble that should have burst a long time ago. Because it gives stupid autistic people on the internet who have truly bought in to this delusion that VTubers are magical beings from another universe that don't have anything to do with lame, smelly flesh streamers. It gives them power and importance that they gatekeep, and they prevent people from just connecting with the kind of talents that they enjoy. And I think that should be 100% destroyed, that everybody should be allowed to talk about this stuff. Almost like the person behind the talent is an actual human organism. Yeah. The industry is slowly morphing into what is IRL streaming now. We're going through the machinima drama all over again, just a lot more autistic. That's actually an interesting perspective on it. I had Peanut Tomato. That's a very interesting perspective because I'm old enough to remember a bit of the machinima drama. I always want to say Machina, but no, Machina is something from... Machina was a pretty good manga and a terrible anime. But yeah, I think that these illusions need to fall because all they do is encourage parasocial behavior, and it allows delusional people to take the reins of the communities. And it's just like how I saw role-playing go when I was younger, is that when I used to enjoy role-playing an awful lot, I enjoyed the act of role-playing because it allowed me to express myself creatively in ways that I couldn't in any other medium. If I was just to write out, say, a science fiction or fantasy story, then... sorry about the sniffing, by the way. Again, I have a cold. Then that would be interesting, but it lacked the instantaneous feedback of role-playing, whereas if I went onto a role-playing game and I acted out as a character, then I was part of a larger dynamic story, which I enjoyed a great deal. It allowed me to explore themes and concepts and ideas that I wasn't able to do in any other medium that was less interactive. But what spoiled it for me was, as I grew older and I grew more mature, and I'm talking like from my late teens to my early 20s, I realized that the things that I considered to be extrinsic explorations of themes and ideas were things that other people considered to be a deep form of self-expression that amounted to... basically, my life is terrible and awful, and I feel horribly repressed in my real life. And so I'm going to create this magical OC donut style version of myself online, where I am literally my character as a not even as a self-insert, but it's more... This term self-insert is very loaded, but I'm talking about... They were their characters, but their characters were not them. Their characters were idealized versions of the people that they weren't allowed to be in real life. And it made them extremely sensitive. You couldn't, in the end... I wanted to do things like just... like either kill people off or put people in scenarios. Like, I was always the forever DM. I was always the guy making settings and you know, offering overall perspectives and so forth, and designing things and creating things, which people were very happy to be part of. But whenever I tried to push them out of their comfort zones and go, maybe it would be fun to lose for once, or, you know, maybe this person should be killed off and you can bring in that one and it will be a really new thing to do, you'd realize that they were clinging on to these characters in ways that was truly unhealthy of them. Yeah, identity obsession took over. Yeah, precisely. And I just want to emphasize, this was before all of the gender nonsense. This was long before that, or at least before it had really exfiltrated from, like, the Tumblr communities. I wasn't like stuff with that. I was never into Tumblr or Facebook, or God forbid, Facebook role-playing, dear God, or anything like that. I stuck to pretty hardcore, like, even in D&D. That's what really amazed me, is that even in Dungeons and Dragons, people were doing this I am my character is an idealized version of me attitude. And in the end, it just disenfranchised me with the entire role-playing medium, and I would so love to be able to get back into role-playing, guys. I really would love to. I would love to play, like, serious Dungeons and Dragons again, like some kind of persistent world and all this kind of stuff. Like, create those moments when I was able to sit back with people that I liked and create a universe together that felt as if it was living and breathing and reactive and interactive. I only accomplished that maybe 2 or 3 times in like a 10 or 15 year career of role-playing practically, you know, every week. But those 2 or 3 instances alone were worth it. They made the entire journey worth it. And when those ended because of various RL or interpersonal issues, I was genuinely cut up and miserable and depressed for long periods of time, because, I mean, I can pour myself into a role as much as any self-insert kind of person. It's just that I don't stake my entire emotional persona upon it. If my character dies, I'm going to be pretty miserable and upset if I've invested a lot into them. But I know the difference between being upset on one level and upset on another level. It's very hard to describe. It's very hard to describe, and I really feel as if this is almost a generational gap in the way that people think. But I don't know. I could ramble on about this topic for hours and hours, and I won't tangent on it too much tonight. But yeah, I see a similar thing in VTubing, that people become obsessed with the avatars as opposed to the people behind the avatars. And it's just like, if, like, for example, somebody brought up Mel in the chat earlier. Like, it's tragic that Mel is gone, and I can completely understand if somebody who had spent years watching Mel's content and the persona and character that she played in that, I can understand if they're devastated. I would be perfectly okay if somebody reacted to Mel's termination announcement by saying, look, I need to go and grieve. I legitimately need to go and feel sorrow akin to, like, on the level of losing a pet or, you know, maybe even a distant family member. I think that's perfectly okay. And I think that, in fact, talents that are able to elicit those kind of emotional responses from people have truly contributed to the world, because entertainment should be, I think that entertainment as a medium should be just as capable of impacting people's lives as any other medium. Like, the idea of entertainment on the same level as philosophy or another source or any other source of interpersonal fulfillment is perfectly valid. It just depends on a lot of individual and different factors. Luminous, it also cucks DMs so badly, currently playing in a Curse of Strahd campaign that was advertised as highly dangerous, and the only way anyone has died in half a year was through some BS trap. We could have died in a lot of combat, but the DM always got scared to kill someone off subconsciously. Yeah, I understand that completely, and that's been a cause of a lot of interpersonal drama and issues as well, because I've had similar problems. Let me just turn off studio mode, sorry. I've had similar problems where I've had players on a game, and some of them I know are very good. Again, there have been extraordinarily good role players who have been able to, because I mostly did instant messaging style roleplay or very occasionally forum style roleplaying. I was never one for voice roleplay, but I really loved to see somebody put like 2 or 3 paragraphs worth of effort into describing their character's personal reactions and interactions with the world, get an idea of their inner thoughts. And so I loved those kind of people, beyond the guys that said, you know, I hit dragon with sword. I was never into that. I was quite happy to have somebody who was able to write a tremendous amount. But I always had to strike this balance between the people who I knew were very good role players but were quite emotionally fragile, and the people who maybe weren't so good at role playing but who were able to roll with the punches much better. And it caused me a lot of angst and a lot of annoyance to deal with these people, and it did end several pretty promising settings and sessions that I had going. Now, if I went back to it, I would have to be incredibly upfront and blunt, because I mean those sessions really did influence my personality a great deal, because it solidified in my mind that sometimes you just have to be blunt with people. You can't do the whole, this community is inclusive. You know, it wants everybody to have fun. I do want everybody to have fun, but I want them to have fun on a level playing field, and I never want to have to say, oh, this person is having fun, this person is having a bit of less fun, because I have to consciously tiptoe around this person, because I know that if I push them too far, they'd have a mental breakdown. Now I'm like, no, I only want intelligent and sane people as my role-playing, you know, associates, and that's why I never get to roleplay any longer, because those people don't exist. It's like when I hit my early 20s, I looked back on all of the drama, because my goodness, the role-playing community is full of drama. I looked back on the drama that went on in my early teenage years, which, you know, I participated in as well. There's no doubt I could get very emotionally involved just like everybody else. I don't want to convey the idea that I was ever aloof from that kind of nonsense. But when I hit my 20s and I hit what I consider to be my emotional maturity, I thought to myself, I am so over all of that nonsense. I'm so over like dealing with people that are still like 18 or 19 or maybe a little bit older. I want to go out, I want to find all the people that are older even than me, because I feel ready to have these more mature conversations with them, to engage in the community in a more sophisticated and intense manner. And I dug into these communities a bit deeper, and I realized, wait, they're all like this. There are people that I know who are 40 who act like they're 16. What is wrong with these people? Why have they not had this moment where they realize how cringe they're being and how they need to improve? Why do I see people that I've known for like 6 or 7 years, why are they still exactly as much of an emotional piss baby as they were when I knew them when they were 15? And I realized that these people were never going to change, because this was their outlet. They would crawl onto the internet to recover from all the things they couldn't deal with in their real lives. And as long as role-playing is seen in a general way as that kind of escape from reality, it's never going to get sophisticated. And I dislike that, because when I get into something, if I get into it at a low level, I want to get into it at a higher level, because I want it to be sophisticated. I try and find sophistication in everything that I do. I never turn my brain off and just go with it. It's why when I game, I hate not being good at a game. I try and be the best that I can possibly be in every game that I play. Arrested Development is a hell of a drug. It totally is. I hate Arrested Development. I think it's so sad because, again, a lot of people are incredibly talented. There were some fantastic writers that I knew who could weave a story, who could weave a character that was better than any novel that I'd ever read, who genuinely brought me to tears or brought me to like side-splitting laughter from the antics they got up to or the tragedy that they were involved in. It wasn't that they couldn't tell an emotional story with their writing. It's not that these people were like Mary Sue's or whatever. It's just that you could tell there was always this tension with them, that you knew if you pushed things too far, if you asked them to do things they weren't comfortable with, so forth, they would just fall to pieces, and they put far too much of themselves into it. I just want to play interactive fantasy role-playing / board game. I mean, yeah, I do too. But I want things to be taken seriously. I want people to bring their A game, as opposed to be like, oh, I want to just turn my brain off and hit orcs. There's time and places for that. Anyway, again, I'm conscious of the fact that I have massively tangented once again, and I apologize for that. Let's continue actually being on something somewhat relevant. Let me just blow my nose. I apologize for all of the various nasal sounds. Again, I do have a cold. 1 second. Hello, Alex. It's nice to know you're watching me, Alex. Maybe one day I will go back to Aralith, but yeah, that day is not today. Maybe if I get like 5 or 10 people who would be fascinated with Neverwinter Nights and would like to go back on somewhere like Aralith, that would be fun. We could have a new dunk squad and everything. That would be charming and delightful. Those were the days. Those were the days. Even just watching that stuff was hilarious. Anyway, let's continue. Ria has confirmed her graduation essentially on her alt, so this is Nyanimi, even this Nyanami, Ruru, and Rumi. Okay, Vtuber. Wait, Vtuber sisters. Okay, I see. That is interesting. They're proceeding with the demolition. I quite agree. And now, as I said, that Rana is apparently leaving too. How long is this? A minute. I have not actually, because all of this happened on a very busy day, I have not been able to watch this, so I'm fascinated what this actually says, because apparently this made people, NWN 1 or 2, NWN 1, I've taken to my own world building at this point. I have done a massive amount of personal world building. I have an entire setting that I've been writing for quite some time now that is like thousands and thousands of words long, and I have not even I've barely begun fleshing it out. I literally like the pitch for it, as in the master document, the setting history that is just a basic overview, is something like 4,000 or 5,000 words long, and I've devised like 10 or 11 different factions, all of whom have their own sub-factions. I've designed religions, I've designed different races and species and so forth, and that is very cathartic, very fun. Anyway, also after the abject failure of D&D 4th edition, they brought on in OSR guys like Kazimir Urbanski and Zach Smith to advise on 5th edition, and these guys basically worship at the altar of Redbox basic D&D. I was always, because I used Neverwinter Nights a lot, I am very much a 3.5 edition and Pathfinder original edition snob. I kind of moved away from those in my later years. I really like the Apocalypse engine world games for simpler, more casual stuff. Because I forget what it's called. It's powered by the Apocalypse or Apocalypse World Engine, something like that. It's very rules light, much more narrative focused, which I prefer overall. Sounds about right. I'm dealing with one major faction, but I've been focusing on biology and ecology first, side of how politics would have affected it by eusocial sapient beings that aren't a hive mind. Sounds very interesting. I mean, if you're in the Discord, feel free to dump some of that info. I'm always interested in reading that kind of stuff. I figure that's why the skill system in 5th is bare bones, because the OSR design philosophy is the DM just rules on everything. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I kind of prefer simpler over more complicated. I like 3.5 edition quite a lot, but I also dislike the fact that, oh my goodness, 3.5 edition is broken. Like, that's where you have pun and all this other nonsense where like character builds are completely absurd and insane. I prefer things simpler simply because I prefer people to be able to write interesting things as opposed to just relying on stats all the time. But again, I'm going to try and focus on this for a change. Dungeon World is great for rules light play. Let me just make a note on that. Let me just go to my own Discord, because I'm always interested in looking up new systems. I'm very big into mecha. Super Robot Wars was a game that just sucked me into itself for many years. I absolutely love Super Robot Wars, and one of my, like, it's literally the settings that I've been doing recently, in that, no, that's not what I need. I need to put it here. There we go. I've been kind of working on a system that is basically the Super Robot Wars mechanics, but in tabletop RPG form, like a bit simpler too. So which I quite enjoy working on every now and again. 3.5 breaks down if you don't have a DM who's willing to say, I don't care if it's rules as written, this shit ain't happening at this table. Yeah, I agree. Real robot play. Hey, I like Super Robot. Well, I like Super Robots too. I really like Digod. I forget what other Super Robot stuff that I really like. But that's the trouble. I'm terrible with names. I'm absolutely dreadful with names. Like Super Robot stuff, you'd have Valve Rave. I really like Valve Rave. That series was killed before its time. I've nearly finished Blue Gender as well. Like Blue Gender was pretty fun. Brain Powered is pretty good. I haven't done much Magic Knight Rayearth. I thought Magic Knight Rayearth was pretty great. I haven't finished Razifon either. I really need to do that, but hey, let's actually focus on this. Now I have motivation to actually do a real write-up. My little project is an unstructured mess ATM. I've mean to do a proper breakdown of the setting, more speculative fiction than anything, designed to twist binary thinking to pretzels. Lancer seems neat, but its fan base seems paused. I have very little interaction with the communities. Are you watching Braver in this season? I pretty much don't watch anything at the time that it comes out. I much prefer to just kind of binge watch anime every so often and download it from just Nya, Nya.si, I think it is. Yeah, one of those anyway. Download it and just binge watch it every so often, because that's how my ADHD brain works. I am very bad. The only thing that I really watch week to week is the new Gundam series. Everything else, I prefer to just download and then like watch 5 or 6 episodes, then forget it exists for like 2 months, then watch another 5 or 6 episodes. And there are very few anime that catch me so hard that I desperately want to watch every single thing of it from start to finish. The thing that I watched most recently that made me do that was Made in Abyss was one that I compulsively watched from start to finish. There was also Tengoku Daimakyo, which is Heavenly Delusion in English. Heavenly Delusion was a fantastic anime. I adore Heavenly Delusion. I really hope that it gets a season 2 because, wow, that show just grabbed me by the collar and dragged me in, and I want to consume as much Heavenly Delusion as physically possible. I don't know why. I just love it. I just love the setting. I love the characters. It's just a fantastic show, which apparently went completely unnoticed in Japan, and literally nobody watched it, which is tragic because that's a great show. Go watch Heavenly Delusion. It's fantastic. Lancer is written by a literal commie. Try MechWarrior 3rd Edition / Classic BattleTech RPG. It's a fairly hard SF setting just by the robots and FTL travel, so don't get shot or shoved out an airlock by the folk company. Razafon falls apart by the last 6 episodes. I mean, it's pretty heavily Razafon is very much Evangelion inspired, so that's no surprise there. But I will actually I will watch this clip because it's only 2 minutes long. And I will relax my throat for like 2 or 3 minutes. If you don't laugh at this, you don't have a heart. Drop it 45 secs. Your microphone. Yep, everything's good.
One day, I'll be able to look back at this as a lesson, and this too will just be a memory, and it's not over for me, because things are only over if you give up. And I'm not giving up, so it's not over for me. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Is it at least hot that I'm crying? Like, is the mental breakdown at least hot? Am I at least, still hot? Like, the mental illness and stuff, it's still hot though, yeah? So it's good. Sorry, I know it's so inappropriate, but I have to do something, I have to do something. I can't just sit here sobbing for like 30 minutes. I just did that. I can't sob for another 30 minutes. Like, I have to do something, I have to do something. I cope with humor, I cope with humor. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if it seems inappropriate. I can't help it. I can't help myself. Oh my god. You do keep sobbing, at least bring out a ukulele. Oh yeah, what's the thing? What's that fucking... What's the fucking... I'm looking up the lyrics. What is it? Toxic gossip train. Chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station. The toxic gossip train.
Sorry. Via Reverie. Via Reverie is the company, Browser CA. Yeah, so you can tell that this woman has seen some shit, as the internet would say. And it's quite obvious that something pretty damn nasty is going on behind the scenes, because she is prime material for Menhera Connect. Internet rules tell me there is probably at least one person who actually got off to that. Yeah, unfortunately. But as the message on the screen says right now, if your company makes a woman sound like this during her graduation, then you've really messed up. I mean, I know that a lot of VTubers tend to cry when Fishman is rubbing his fins on this one. Oh no. A lot of women tend to cry during their graduation, which is perfectly understandable, but I really do get the sense that these VTubers have been either abused legalistically in some way, and there's actually more evidence of that, and I will scroll down to it right now, because Cherry's PL has commented on this. Oh yeah, somebody said it's quite funny that on October 24th, the aid agency Save the Children says 2,000 children had been killed in Gaza by Israeli bombing, and also that was the first time. That same day was when V Reverie started to implode, and it was morbidly funny that people were connecting these two because there's so little info out there, and that's the state of rats in the VTuber community. There's also that reminds me, there's the Nijisisters stuff that I will get onto after covering this V Reverie stuff. And this is Sherry. This is her alt thing, Brie alt cookie box. And this is another thing that I don't understand. I said this in Discord too. She says, I've never had a manager even bother to watch my content in the past, let alone care about me, work with me in ways that suits my workflow and methods best to actually care about my success. Gucci also doesn't lie to me and gaslight me and then ghost me for weeks, so that's hype too. And then you have Umi. I found out today that my manager plays League. Oh dear, that's a very big red flag. On a genuine level, I'm so glad that I have a manager who cares about me. I feel genuinely supported and assisted in my endeavors. I lost a lot of my confidence from being in my previous workplace, and he's always encouraging me to build me back up. I'll always be grateful. I forget who Kyoku is in terms of her V Reverie identity. It's unreal how often I get so happy and thrilled. I feel just from like the basic things. Like the first time my manager told me good work today, I almost cried. When the bar is in the depths of hell, Bree says. And yeah, I have had, this is something that I feel perfectly fine sharing. Literally every single VTuber that I have personally spoken to who has any kind of management experience, or experience with managers, that is, says that the bar is below the bottom of the swimming pool. I have never heard any VTuber say they had a good manager. She was Ophelia Midnight. Ophelia is Umi. Okay, thank you. And we have, of course, at the very top, there's this thing here that has not gotten a huge amount of attention, but is still pretty important, because this was, yeah, a well-known indie manager and former PewDiePie mod is exposed as a habitual liar and thief, which is worth highlighting. This was Lennox again. I just want to say I really, really like Lennox. She is a very nice person, and she has been incredibly communicative and helpful to me in a number of things, and I really do appreciate that. I think she's the prime example of somebody who is in a very disadvantaged and frankly very unpleasant situation, and yet still maintains her moral principles, which is something that I deeply respect, even though we do disagree on quite a few political things, shall we say. But I mean, she had a bad experience with this manager, Evil Bunny, aka Erin, and multiple other people have spoken out about it. Even Sylvain Spark, who I should note is the same guy who furiously sucks on Marina's definitely unmutilated AGP penis, because he is a gay Slovenian. And he is one of the very few people that I know from multiple different sources has directly harassed multiple VTubers for speaking out against Marina VT and all of the nonsense that they have done. Sorry for my creaking chair. But he's going, finally, I can open up about myself. Strap in, everyone, because I have my own horror story of working with Erin, aka Evil Bunny, and the damage she caused me legit brought me to near suicide. Oh no, I, the person that has harassed multiple disabled people and multiple people with severe mental issues because they said mean things about the autogynephile that I would really like to have hold in my arms. They said mean things about them, so I harassed harass them, but don't think about that. Don't think about that. Think about evil money and how this evil manager nearly brought me to suicide, guys. Oh no. Sorry, I can't do that voice for very long, but yeah, I really dislike Sylvain Spark. If you couldn't tell. Multiple people speaking up against this person. And again, this is the standard. This is the standard. As I said, this guy's an insane gay Slovenian. If you look at his Twitter profile, it's just like 90% gay porn. Disagreement is fine. At a certain point, we can agree to disagree in good faith. It's a mark of maturity. Yeah, Lennox is one of the very few mature people that I've met as a VTuber, ironically. The Janny cries out in pain as he strikes you. Yep, there's also Tom here. Let me just read through. A number of months ago, I volunteered to moderate two wonderful streamers who I still occasionally pop up in their streams. Very same moderation server, she had another cry for help, which I flat out refused due to personal life matters. Yeah, Erin, for some reason, seems to be this person who is just a massive grifter. She constantly makes up lies about how terrible things have happened in her life. I compared her... Lennox talked to me a while ago about her living situation and how there's literally like a crack whore living right across from her who will say and do absolutely anything for crack money. Because it's Glasgow, and actually I think it's heroin, so she's a heroin addict, and this woman will do absolutely anything for more heroin money. She will cheerfully lie to your face about anything to get you to give her money. And Erin is very much the same from everything that I've seen, is that they will make up sob stories all the time and grift and desperately beg, and they will just lie and say, yeah, I can get you a sponsorship with Coca-Cola and nonsense like that. And yet this person was a literal PewDiePie mod. They were PewDiePie's Twitch mod for a while, and I think they still are, actually. And this person has serious internal connections with large parts of the industry, so... It's just, I don't believe it. How can somebody who is a complete drifter, the train spotting any percent speedrun, get so far in the entertainment industry? It's absurd to me. And we see this with people like Marina as well, is that they have no personal appeal at all, and yet they just shamelessly, they just lie about it. They just lie about it. And I find it so tragic that people who have been genuine and honest so many times, who I know do not lie about things, who I have trust in, and I feel I have interacted with long enough to have understanding and respect for their moral principles, are not believed simply because they don't lie. It's hilarious. It's just like you have to lie, and you have to lie hard enough to get into places, and once you've gotten into places, that by the very fact you are in those places, you automatically get the benefit of the doubt. It's very depressing to me, very depressing and upsetting to me. And I find it very sad. I find it very sad. A little clout goes a long way. Yeah, exactly. A little clout goes an awful long way. People get somewhere and they just jump on it for forever. It's the classic grifter story of just lying to get a job and then using the prestige of that past job to get another job and so on. Yeah, that's a very good way to sum up it, Luminous. Sorry, just have a drink. And we see this in the management sphere an awful lot. And again, I have literally been asked by people to manage them, because on the grounds that I am the only person who has any kind of organizational skills, who they have interacted with, who has not tried to abuse them, who has not tried to solicit nudes from them, or has not tried to get them to do weird, creepy sexual things with them within a dozen messages of contacting them. Unironically, I have people that have told me this has happened to them 4 or 5 times. What on earth is wrong? What on earth is wrong with the world, guys? Sometimes it's just so depressing to talk about how just being having very basic moral principles is unironically a superpower in 2024, and it's depressing to me. It really is depressing, because the absolute state of VTubing, I know, it's just like how I said there are VTubers out there who will stab you in the gut for 5 CCV, and they will twist the knife for 10 CCV. I said that to somebody and they said, yeah, that's the most real statement you've ever said about VTubing. And I want this industry to get better. I want this industry to get better. I will do a lot of things. That's why I want to talk to people who are in V Reverie, and I want to talk to people that have been in Nijisisters and all this kind of stuff, because the tactics that people use to exploit VTubers don't change. What happens is the targets change. Is there are innocent people, they only survive because innocent people enter this medium with high expectations and starry-eyed views of how VTubing is going to be this wonderful social club where they will make loads of very good friends and they will get into companies that will help them to push outwards into the world. And yet they get taken advantage of and they get burnt out. And the problem is that they learn the wrong lessons. They learn to get rid of their morals. They learn to become as vicious as the people around them. They learn to backbite. They learn to backstab. And they learn to take advantage of any opportunity, no matter how despicable it might be, because in their minds they go, if I don't take advantage of this, then somebody else is just going to take advantage of it anyway. So I may as well become an asshole because I didn't get anywhere by being a good person. Props to Fishman for only hitting women with prior tuber experience as managers. Yeah, I mean, Fishman seems to at least be decent in that respect. They become woman. Oh, they will only get worse. I hope not. Again, I want to be a good influence in some tiny way. I just want people to be happy. I would be happy if tomorrow everybody stopped watching the Virtual Asylum because there was no more drama. An industry in which there was no more drama would be one that I would prefer to the one we have now. I mean, it's funny to watch drama. It's funny to watch things like the Niji-sanji, Doki Bird stuff. It's fun to go to bed and not know what you're going to wake up to the next morning and feel that contact high of being like, what's going to happen next? What new thing will there be to laugh at on the internet? That can be fun. But when it goes away and you sit there and you look at all the rats, at all the bad faith, at all the burned bridges, at all the broken promises, at all the sad people that just wanted to sit there and watch cute anime women that are now having to face a much harsher and nastier reality, I'm sorry, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'll never begrudge anyone for just saying, "Oh, I don't want to be involved." I don't mind if people don't want to be involved with me or want to say, "No, I just want to sit down and watch tubers," or "I just want to stream." Good, very good. But again, if you have experience that you can use to prevent somebody else from going through what you yourself went through, then I do feel there is at least some duty to speak up and say, "Look, this happened to me, and you shouldn't do what I did." I think that Zen Gunman, I think that VTubing in its current state is a system at its breaking point and something will change if only because it has to. I do agree. I think that 2024 is the year of the indie VTuber, because we've seen the almost total collapse of Niji-sanji as a valid brand name. And I think that there will still be... corpos are never going to go away. I don't think that we're going to see total corpo death or anything silly like that. No, there's definitely going to be good corpos out there. I mean, there's Phase Connect, there's Idle to an extent, there is, there's HoloLive. They're always going to be there, and I think that getting into those companies is 100% a prestigious accomplishment. But I think the days of VTubers being like, "Oh, I have to get into a corporation to amount to anything," are just gone. And I think that having things be more flexible, having things be more informal, where people can move in and out of different circles more efficiently, and have more informal relations between VTubers, I think that is where the industry is organically heading as time goes by. I feel like it's just a general problem with the talent industry, Xenogears. The kind of abuse you see happen to VTubers is the same shit that happens to J-idols and K-pop idols. I agree. I've seen a lot of this type of young industry slash scene scamming happen in esports like 10 years back, and the industry is still pretty effed. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I think that esports was always a bubble. I think esports was a massive bubble because it just was. I go back and I watch documentaries about esports, and it's absurd to me how any of this ever got off the ground. It will become IRL streaming 2.0 that is mainly dominated by indies. I think so. Agree. Also, props to Idle for shit-canning the offending manager along with Riro Ron. I mean, I think that they should have seen what kind of person Riro Ron was before, because a lot of people say that a lot of her talent, a lot of her traits were there before she became part of Idle, and like the pill popping and so forth. I think that Idle is at fault there for just hiring her in the first place. I wouldn't have hired somebody like that. I would not have hired the scary pill-addicted Russian skeleton woman. I'm sorry. that was just dynamite waiting to go off. And I hope I hope she gets better. I hope she gets she architect maxes a little bit and gets a little bit of muscle and meat on those bones, because good grief, that is terrifying. Ooh. And gets off the pills. But that's either one thing or the other. I won't get distracted. Where were we? Was anything more happened since the last time I looked at it? Nope, pretty much. We just have a bit more ratting. Again, I have reached out in what ways that I can. I'm literally going to get Twitter Blue so that I can slide into people's DMs and not have my DMs to people go immediately into their hidden folders. I don't mind if people say no, but I do at least want to know that my messages got there properly. There will still be plenty of people lining up to get into corpos. Didn't suck, and I talk about 1,000 applications for the last gen. I agree. How do you feel about managing broken women's in the future, Proctor? I mean, I am more than happy to help any woman who wants help from me. I am not interested in well, to be blunt, if somebody wanted to say, hey, manage me and I will give you a solid wage, then yeah, sure, I'd be happy with that. But I mean, it's just sad, again, with people in our Discord server. I mean, look at the reputation we would have on the internet. I mean, people have come to me and said that, you know, nobody should associate with you. No VTubers should talk to you. No VTubers should speak to you. You're a liability and you're a danger because you allow things like past life content. You don't automatically delete docs material. You don't do these things. You're a threat to VTubers in some way or another. So every VTuber that associates with you is painting a target on their back to be like manipulated and you know, and all that kind of stuff. And yet, you know, I go to my server and there are VTubers there that are talking about stuff they say outright that they can't say in their own Discord servers because their own members will gain a jaded view of them. They like being in a space where people are honest and upright and upfront with them. And because again, we are realistic about VTubing. And I think that our community has a lot of grounded individuals who are, as Stuffy Dahl said, yet the server does nothing except try to fix the menherers. Yeah, precisely. Exactly. I see in our Discord server people saying, I want to help you. I think that you're a good person, even if you say that you're not. You know, we're there for you. And I think that's a lovely thing to see. Because when you have a group of people who have seen the good and the bad, the bad, and the ugly, as opposed to believing that VTubing is this wonderful magical experience where everybody is supposed to be eternally positive and polite to each other, then they can see when another person is actually suffering and is in a bad state, and they know when to react with more than heart emojis. And they try and give good advice. They try and give sincere advice. And you can tell there is a sincerity there that is lacking in other communities. And I'm very proud of my community that people are sincere. Even when they give criticism, they give it generally from the perspective of somebody trying to help somebody improve as opposed to tear them down. And I just really like that. I really like that. And Ark liked maybe 3 years ago that would be true, but the pendulum is starting to swing back. I'm not sure what you're replying to exactly. It's just the classic lesson that it's best to be around honest and rude people instead of backstabbing toxic positivity. Yeah, absolutely. 100% Luminous. I agree with you. I mean, there are some women who can't handle that, and that's okay. Every person has the right to seek out an audience that they are comfortable with. I'm not saying, oh, if you're a menhera and you get extremely triggered when people say things to you on Twitter or whatever, you should come to our Discord and have us bully you into being a sensible person. No, that's not going to work. But those who are capable of dealing with it should have somewhere they can get frank and open and honest feedback. And I will always push for that. I will always support that. And I think that there is an onus on VTubers to just deal with negativity along with positivity. Nobody deserves to get bullied or attacked. But I don't like the hugbox mentality. I think that things should be honest and level-headed and sensible. People should have a backbone. People should have a backbone. They shouldn't always be forced to use it, but it should be there for them. Again, that's a whole other topic. That's a whole other topic that I'm not going to get into too much because the tabs are calling to me. And there's a hell of a lot of stuff. We already covered those two things. There's quite a few things that I'd like to go over in some capacity. Things that I found very entertaining. Particular, is this it? No, not that. But we have this, which was a bandwagon list, which is the Nijisisters. The Nijisisters and their great strike back against the evil haters who came for their perfect and wonderful dream of VTubing. You notice this is Archive Today link. I also had it on the Wayback Machine earlier, but it's on Archive Today because this was deleted. This was deleted, but of course, nothing is deleted forever on the internet. And this was a page that was put out. You can see the URL up there, reentry.co/bandwagon list. And indies artists, that support Doki/Xceline. These are Twitter handles of those who support Doki and throw stones at Nijisanji EN and any color. Note, this is work in progress, not anymore because he deleted it. Disclaimer, I did not make this list all by myself. A lot of input are from Niji fans, and I just made the compilation here and double-check by looking for the evidence tweets. First and foremost, block this person. Then we have Flipsy VT. Flipsy VT is most definitely gaming the algorithm, I'll say that much. I just can't believe how many views they get for some reason. And also, they retweeted revenge porn. This is hilarious to me. Revenge porn. The revenge porn of Illyra was an NSFW commission of her getting, like, in a black gangbang. It was black gangbang hentai that is supposedly the revenge porn, and This is where the delusional side of VTubing gets just out of hand, because when you are in a mental state where you view hentai of a streamer as revenge porn, you need to get some help. You urgently need to get some help. Any Color must love to see this. Yeah, this is the fan base that Any Color has cultivated. 1 second. Ah, delicious water. We, of course, have Kyomaru, because of his I hate Nijisanji. I mean, yeah, he's obviously not going to be particularly positive towards them right now. Also have False ID. We have got Dream Ichu. I don't know their Twitter and said on their community post that I don't want to support Niji anymore. Like, this is the extent of the evidence in some of the cases, where it just says, I don't know their Twitter, and said on their community post they don't want to support Niji anymore. This is enough. It's the absurd thing. You can tell how half-assed this is. Like, they are not sending their best when this person was added to the list. Why? They don't say. They have no idea why. They say, I don't know. They don't know their Twitter, and they don't know why. They just said, oh, they're here because they said in a community post they don't want to support Nijisanji anymore. That's it. And of course we have Tectone. I hate Tectone. He is just a complete raving lunatic for some reason. And then, obviously, the natural things, Mudahar, Asmongold, Hero High, Coefficient. And here's the hilarious thing. Even Ito, who is a massive fan of Nijisanji. Like, even Ito, he has been on the pro-Niji side for ages. And it's only, like, very, very recently, after Nijisanji has done so much stuff to destroy its public image, that even Ito has said anything even remotely negative about Niji-sanji. He has been full on the Nijisister bandwagon for most of this time. And yet the moment that he says anything that is not 100% in lockstep, perfect harmony with the Nijisister attitude, he immediately goes on this list. This no-contact list, this forever kill-on-sight list. It's just absolutely hilarious. They're salt. They're salt on you. And of course, we have the artists. Called Chew Name, New Account, Ceramic Guts, Evidence, Cold Niji a Loser. And these are all, this is a great list of people, as as some people would say, a great list of people to support, because they all said nasty stuff about Niji-sanji. And there's also, like, Azihara is on this list somewhere. I forget exactly where. I don't know who, but they got followers. I don't know. Where is Azihara? Yeah, Azihara is on this list, which is extremely funny. I am not mentioned on this list. I am very upset. There's some bizarre stuff. Bree at Cookie Box, Snuffy, San Sinjin, Indie quote retweets about the situation, says they don't want to harass the livers and implies they were meat shields. Ariel VT Ludes La Indie supported Doki, but nothing else from what I see. Tomo, I think that's Tomo Umari, I'm not sure. Sleepy Cricket. Is Nemu... No, Pippa isn't on this list, hilariously. Neither is Kirsha. Like, this is just... Nijisisters, you are not sending their best. Isn't Azihara 2CE? I don't know what you mean by 2CE. The bandwagoner without the S link still works. Oh, interesting. That's so it is technically still up. All right, I'll keep that in mind going forwards. I also want to believe the hit list is a false flag. It's so rash and stupid, it's hard to believe someone would type it up not thinking how bad it looks. No, I completely believe that it's legit. Like, maybe it was, but I don't know. If you want a live version. Jack, are you in the Discord? If so, you can ping me with the link. If not, then, well, you can join down in the thing. Let me drink of water 1 second. Yeah, Azihara is on there twice. Yep. Several people are on here twice. You can tell. I can completely believe this was put together by an absolutely seething Nijisister, because this feel about it. Pippa and Kirsha in the 2nd edition. Damn. Like, send the link. I want to see the link. If there's a current version of this with Pippa and Kirsha on it, I absolutely want to see it. Somebody send that to me. I thought Snuffy was a lefty. Is she based? I don't like Snuffy, I'm afraid. She is a very much of a Vtuber, and I just don't like her. Like, the models that she uses, I find disgusting. They're just so... they're so jiggly, and... It looks like she's a jelly mold that got somebody whacked with a spatula. Ugh. I just don't like that stuff. I really don't. Bring back, bring back the no, I'm actually not going to say that. Luxium and its consequences. Chat, you need to understand how crazy Tumblr women are. This is very standard. Yeah, this is something that really irritates me, is that we, like TVA and so on, it gets called like a dangerous community. Because, we do stuff, we allow past life talk and all that stuff, and yet these people, these Nijisisters, are an audience that has been specifically cultivated by an entire generation of Niji-sanji talents, like Vox and Luca and all those people. They appeal to the Chinese Fujoshi audience, and yet the Fujoshi are the most dangerous fan base you can have on the internet, pretty much, is that they do things like, if you get doxxed, there is a serious chance the Fujoshi will show up to your your house. And like when Vox was doxxed, I think he got told by the police that he should go into like protective hiding until he could get a new address. He had to move his house because he was doxxed, because there was such a danger of some insane Fujoshi that draws gore art on Tumblr showing up to his house. And it's the same. These are the people that send air tags to try and send air tags to people, that there's a certain flavor of Fujo who's more dangerous than any community. Yeah, these people will do things like send you letters written in their own period blood, or even bags of their period blood as fan letters, and insanity like that, who are legitimately unhinged, who will draw stuff like themselves eating your co-workers' entrails, and draw like lurid fan fiction of them raping and murdering your co-workers because they dare to show up on a live stream with you. These are unhinged people, and yet Niji is 100% in bed with them. Has it been documented how Niji appealed to the Chinese Fujoshis so hard? I just remember them showing up, and then later, bam, Chinese stalkers everywhere. Proctor knows the dangers of the Fujo audience and explained it in detail, yet still uses the femboy model. Curious. I mean, let's be honest, the Fujoshi in our Discord are very, very low-level Fujoshi. I mean, they're all... I mean, can you imagine me being stalked by somebody like Empraise or Denna? I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Fujo's really... I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't understand why these people are the way they are. It's a level of obsessiveness that puts that puts male VTuber fans of like their Oshi to shame. Okay, maybe not, because you do have the tributes and things. Wait for the model to attract the unhinged ones. I mean, this is just. I honestly find this model. I like the colors of this model. If I made a real model that wasn't a femboy avatar, I'd still keep this kind of color scheme because I do like it. I really like the golden pheasant motif for all my stuff. I really like color. I love color. Like, you don't understand. I can't post pictures of my house because my house is so distinctive that even if I posted images of what the inside of my house looks like, it would still be very easy to dox me, because I'm pretty certain that other people who have been to our house have taken pictures of it that they've then put on Facebook and places like that, so it would be very easy. So I can't really share much about my living circumstances, but my parents are very well, my mother is a very artistic person, and she's decorated the entirety of the house in brilliant, vibrant colors. Every wall has a mosaic painted on it. We have tiles and other things that are just rainbow hues, rainbow colors in every room of the house. It's so bright, and I've grown up surrounded by such color and such intense vibrancy in my life that if I go to a hotel room, if I have to stay more than a week in a bland hotel room, I literally get depression. Being in non-colorful surroundings, being in surroundings that don't have large amounts of color and visual noise to them, makes me depressed. That's why I really push back against the idea of, make things simple so that people will notice you. No, I don't. I want things to be as colorful, vibrant, and visually eclectic as possible. It's funny because I only really draw in black and white because I am a detail freak, but anything artistic that's abstract, I want as bright and colorful as possible. I'm a strange man. I don't really like black and white. I like things colorful and vibrant, and I'm never gonna reject that part of myself. Zen Gunman, I remember Dizzy was asked on stream if she'd ever date a VTuber, and she was like, no effing way. By the time I found out that he was a successful tuber, his fans would have already found me, cut my throat, and dumped my body down a mine shaft. Zen Gunman, that's so funny. I like Dizzy a lot. Dizzy is somebody, well, Dizzy is crack, sorry. Dizzy is the VTuber equivalent of crack. Like, the high would be amazing, but I'm sorry, the withdrawal is not worth it. I would really love to interview Dizzy sometime. Like, that is one of my dreams. Like, somebody like Dizzy who has so much industry experience and has that personality. I would really love to have Dizzy on stream. That would be a dream collab of mine. And not just for her personality, and again, because of her experience with I would so love to have Dizzy, to interview Dizzy and talk about Sundaria together. Oh, I would pay so much money. Like, if Fishman told me tomorrow, if you pay me $1,000, you can have a collab with Dizzy and talk about Sundaria, I'd pay that. I would immediately pay that, like, no question at all. That would be worth €1,000 to me immediately. Proctor, how much meth have you been smoking? What are you talking about, Thrang? I am only on my ADHD medication at the moment. Oh, I'm also very high on cough. I am very high on cough medicine and cough. Various cold-related medications. I'm very I'm literally dizzy. I am dizzy IRL at the moment. Cop Proctor coming out pro collab paying. I see. I mean, Fishman whoring out Dizzy does not seem out of character. But yeah, Dizzy, if you for some reason watch my streams, I absolutely want to collab with you. Just call me. DM me on Twitter. I don't care. I will take anything that I can get. I want to talk to you about Sundaria and the VTuber industry. Please, I'm begging you. Check out her OOC stream. She does peel the curtain back quite a bit. I mean, yeah, that's why I like her. But I mean, I just find it very sad how she obviously has. She's definitely a sad girl herself, and I find her relationship with her father very depressing to listen to because, I mean, that's a whole other tangent. Anyway, back to the Nijisister nonsense. In that, yeah, we have all these people. I don't recognize most of them. They even have people who they were in a. It just depresses me on so many levels. And then, of course, we have this, which I really love. It really shows the negligible impact. Sorry, just giving you a drink of water. Nijisanji's in trouble. This is obviously an image board post. The Anycolor stock price, it still has not recovered. It's hovering just below 3,050 yen. And you can see how this was... I think it was high. It started out before this drama. Anycolor stock was about 3,850. I think that was 3,850 was their high point. And pardon me. Sorry, my throat is not too brilliant at the moment. But then they went down. They are now at 350. And it looks like they dropped below 300, I think, at some point. So it looks like they're going to low price was 325, right? And do I have this open in Reddit as well? Base? No, that's a different one. TLDR, Niji brought 2.5 billion yen worth of stock. Pre-buyback price was around 315 to 33. Peak in early January was 380. Salen controversy caused it to crater under pre-buyback price. Niji blew 18 million USD into nothing, even lost more money on top of that since stock price is lower than when the buyback started/finished. Now here's another interesting point. This is why I wanted to highlight this. Niji's internal revenue statement last year mentioned how Niji EN would be the pillar of their business, yet EN's reputation is now nuclear. ID, EN, and KR, that is India, Indonesia, and Korea, are all dead due to mismanagement, actual clique behavior, and cost cutting. In Enna Alouette's recent concert and birthday live, compared to last year, views and earnings are down almost by half, with most of the donors/viewers from Hong Kong, compared to last year when they were mostly the US. Showing trends of EN terminal decline. And I think that Murray, if you're in the chat here, Murray posted a graph of Niji EN views over time and how it's a high curve at the start and now it's tapering down and it's starting to bell curve back downwards again. And March 16th is shareholders meeting, and Riku has to explain to his Chinese bosses why they should totally believe him this time after another branch is on fire. And here we have the 4th branch in total. China is probably going to be on fire too since CCP is cracking down. What is the ramification of Nijisanji going under? How would that affect VTubing and VTubers in Japan? And as B-Ray G23 says, some stockholders were saying if it doesn't have positive change, they'll be selling their stock, causing their stock to go down to possibly below 3,000, if I remember. It was members over time. Ah, I see. It was members over time, but it's gently curving downwards. Yes. Let me have a look if I can. That's just dizzy stuff. I will take anything I can get, dizzy. I miss Adya. I don't know what you're talking about, Perfectly Sane Lutheran. Oh, sorry. Oh, my head. A weird dizzy spell for a second. I'm literally high on cough medicine right now. Oh, dear. But yeah, it's a good point that they make that Nijisanji is now 4 for 4, nearly, on... 4 for 5, because I think the Chinese branch is the only one that is still kind of afloat. That the EN, I don't think, is ever going to recover. I really don't think that English Nijisanji is ever going to recover. I hear nothing good about Nijisanji in internal EN, and I mean that from both like official sources and unofficial, as it were. Nothing good at all. Nothing good whatsoever. Niji India, yeah, Niji India was a dumpster fire. So, Hololive, meanwhile, is just trucking along. Hololive, all of its branches are just quietly and calmly and confidently trucking along. I just want to point out that Riku lost almost 200 million in a week. Yep, I agree. I don't see Zen Gunman. I don't see Nijisanji going under unless they're leveraged to hell and back. I do think that we could see them pulling back on their own shores. Yeah, I don't think that Nijisanji is going to fail, because we forget sometimes that their Japanese branch is doing extremely well, and the top Nijisanji Japanese talent gets more numbers than any Hololive talent. Like, Nijisanji in the domestic Japanese market has individual talents that are more popular than any of Hololive's talents. Even Picora. Even Picora is out, who is like one of the most watched VTubers in the entire world, is beaten out by a Nijisanji Japan talent. I forget what his name is, but he gets something like several million more viewing hours than she does. She's closing the gap as far as I know, but we have to remember that Nijisanji is still an absolute titan of the Japanese VTuber industry. Adya was a talented Niji India. I see. So I think that Nijisanji could... Kane and Kuzuha are gigantic. Yeah, exactly. They are absolutely gigantic. They are among the most watched streamers in the entire world, and they're like the most watched VTubers in the world. Like, top 5 at least. Nijisanji JP is doing well for now. I think that Nijisanji in the next couple of years will not see growth in anywhere but the domestic market. I think that Nijisanji needs to consolidate. I don't think we'll see many more waves, and if there are more waves of Nijisanji English, it's going to be interesting. Very fascinating indeed. And I think we're going to see more drama. I do not think that unless there is massive shake-up in the background, there's massive shake-up in the background, we're going to see just Nijisanji quietly fading into the background on the English front, and I feel sorry for the talents that are still in Nijisanji. I think they all should seriously be considering their exit strategy. And I'm not going to go into all of the rats about the Illyra management clique or anything. I think that until new people speak out with authority, it's pointless. Pardon me. Salome was also a huge success straight from debut for Niji. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it shows, doesn't it, that Nijisanji obviously has good business ideas on the homeland front, obviously. And that's the thing, is that the Nijisanji new people... Nijisanji English just has this terrible problem of not being able to get standouts anymore. They had the Fujoshi audience with people like Vox and so on, and that really smashed the international audience. But they've been chasing that dream for a while, and they have not been able to get back to it. Like, their latest Nijisanji EN, their latest wave, they're all like sub the previous wave in terms of CCV, as far as I know. There's no standouts, there's no energy there, and I've seen nothing about them. Nobody talks. Nobody on the forum talks about the new Nijisanji English wave, which I think is sad. It really is sad. because there are talented people there. Like, all I've heard is negative. Like, oh, their models are cute, but their models are also stiff, or they're downgrades from the models we know they had as past lives. So that's a real shame. The problem is, unlike Hololive, Nijisanji JP depends almost entirely on like 5 livers, who are the only ones who pull enough numbers and money to be relevant. The rest of the branch is basically dead. That's an interesting comment, Peanut Tomato. Yeah. I mean, Hololive, it has I think every single Hololive streamer has steady CCV, even like the older ones and even the Indonesian ones, they have pretty solid CCV. I said put a dude in it and make him gay, Riku probably. Yeah, it's just this lack of corporate direction, whereas every time that Hololive comes out with a new wave, it's obvious that they've put an awful lot of thought on who the people they hire are going to appeal to, whether they're going to be a long-term prospect, whether they are going to be, whether they're going to appeal to their existing demographic or older demographic. I would love to see what kind of market research that Hololive does when it hires new people, because they have never really had an abject failure of a streamer ever. The worst they have are still consistently like high indie status. And it's obvious they still support those streamers too, which is really good. I think that getting into Hololive would be an amazing prospect, because there are no 3 views in Hololive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even their male English branch had probably their worst hiccup, which was like the Altair, not Altair, but was it Altair? No, it's Magni and Vesper. Sorry, I don't know why I said Altair for a second. They still get the solid views and everything, and I think that was just a tragic personality clash. Ow, sorry. Oh, sorry, I've got a slight sore on the inside of my mouth from my cold, and it's just quite painful at the moment. Oh, that really hurts. You ever had one of those sores, just the inside of your lip, where if you drink something and water gets against it, it really horribly, painfully throbs? That just happened to me, and it was very unpleasant. Oh. I have a ping, links and info dump. Ah, yes, thank you, Murray. Let me just put that up on screen. There we go. Here we are. That Nijisisters members, Lazulite, Obsidia, Etheria, Luxium, Noctix, Illuna, Exoil. Ow. So you can see that it's starting to trend down, and this was 24/02/18, so it's relatively recent data. Yeah, quite recent data, actually. You can see that it starts to trend down, and it's starting to... And I think that, again, the market at this point is very saturated. I don't think there are many VTuber watchers out there who are looking for an Oshi. I mean, I have something like 5 or 6 VTubers at this point that I regularly watch. Let me just go on Twitch. That I regularly watch. You know, I watch... Sorry, this is... They go, like, I watch Hills, I watch Denna when she has access to a laptop, I sometimes watch Smug Alana, I watch Megu if I'm up that late, I watch Busujima Bibi, I sometimes, you know, I watch Mozu when she's live. So just on Twitch alone, I have like 5 or 6 streamers who, if they're live and there's nothing else going on, I will always tune into their streams. So... pardon me. I have my hands full just keeping up with one. I mean, Thrang, you are very Pippa obsessed, okay? There's a reason you have that help I can't fix her tag on my title on my forum. There haven't been any official termination/graduation since Kyo, but there's suspicious inactives. I had to tune out for 20-ish minutes, but I was saying earlier I genuinely don't understand how Nijisisters exist, unironically. Maybe it's the tism, I don't get it. The Chinese have a major issue. Again, this could be an entire tangent by itself, but I used to watch quite a lot of content that came from China, where it was like expats and so on, talking about Chinese culture and so on. And the Chinese, because of their one-child policy and their cultural attitudes towards women, have an awful lot of spare women who just have zero prospects of romance or children. There are millions and millions of Chinese women who have no hope of getting a husband. And I'm not talking about, oh, they should just go out and talk to men more or whatever. No, they don't. It's a numbers game. There are more women than there are men, and they are spare women. They are not considered like in the top 1% of desirability that Chinese men will always go for. Because again, if you are in a situation where you have hundreds and hundreds of options to choose from, why would you ever settle for a bad option? It's just not logical. And so you have all these like Chinese women who have no realistic prospects of any kind of romantic relationship, simply in a numbers sense, nothing to do with personality. And what are their choices? And again, in Chinese society, interracial marriage basically just doesn't happen. Other way around, Proc. I mean, no, it's not in the fact that there are more women than men. It's something I forget what the full details of it are. There's more men than women. Yeah, but women in China, if they don't marry, it's the Christmas cake thing. If they don't marry before a certain date, then they're considered worthless. And you have cases where, and the standards for people marrying are very high. And like the whole, you marry the family as well as the person. It's a whole load of extra cultural nonsense. And if you don't fit those criteria perfectly, it's just like you're never going to get married. It's just that simple. Even if it doesn't matter if there are more men available. Just the dating prospects from the career side and more intangible values, it just doesn't work. Because it's that kind of society. Like the standards are too high for people to allow that to happen. It's not like in the US or in the Western society. Although honestly, I would say that in Western society it's the same. It's the same. Hag love, yes. And so these women just translate all of that frustration into an online relationship. Also, women in China are going for foreign men. Yeah, they are going for foreign men, but it's incredibly difficult to get citizenship in China as well. So if you are a Chinese woman, then your only choices are really the expat community, and the expat community are usually transitory. They don't stay in China for very long, or if they do, they probably are not looking to marry. There's all that kind of difficulty. Dating in a nutshell anymore, to be honest, Proctor. Yeah, I agree. The dating, Kirsha rants about this an awful lot. The dating industry is terrible at the moment. And I do call it an industry because it has been commoditized and it has been messed around with. It's just nonsense. And I feel so sorry. I feel so sorry. Again, I'm in a position where I could probably get a girlfriend pretty easily, but I almost feel guilty of my position because I feel as if I would be taking advantage of a bad situation as opposed to standing on my own merits. It's weird. That's a very strange thing to say, but it's again, it's a real thing that it's not particularly funny. It's not particularly funny to talk about, and it doesn't really suit this kind of stream. But I mean, I could talk about it for hours, really. Let me just because I have a forest of tabs here, so let me just go back to just chatting and look through these tabs for the next relevant thing because I'm totally lost now. Oh yeah, this was another thing that was a bit related to where's the other tab for it? No, that's a tweet related to it. Where are we? I really need to organize my Twitter stuff more effectively. Oh yeah, this was also a very funny thing. I will bring this up because this was hilarious. Yeah, the Nijisisters stuff is now so big and so massive that, as Shenpai said here, which Niji-san GEN member will graduate next? You can now bet on it through the DraftKings app. For new customers, DraftKings will match your deposit up to $100. Use code SOLEN for an additional 20 in bonus bets. Please remember to gamble responsibly. Now, I have not verified this, so this may be complete nonsense, but even just the idea that this was... Is this a real thing? I'm curious. Is this an actual real thing? I don't know if this is. If I go to DraftKings app, will it... let me open it in my other tab. Because I have no idea what it's like. This is my gambling stream, okay? This is my CSGO skins. I'm not sponsored, okay? I'm not sponsored by DraftKings. And I try to go there and I immediately get hit by a block for some reason. Oh, because I'm not in. I would have to change my VPN, which I enable a VPN to get onto this website, because it's not available in my country. Of course, it's fake Vanit's face, as far as I know. Okay, 250 on Scarly XD. But I do find this so funny. I really do think that I know that there are people that have done this. I know there are people who have posted this, who have bet on when VTuber terminations will be. I'm not a betting man. I don't gamble or anything. But at this point, when your public perception of your company is to this point, then you really have no future. You have no hope. When people are betting on when your next termination will be, you've lost the plot. You need to go back to the drawing board. You need to you need to take all of your short-term gains and go, we need to hire a really good marketing department to deal with this. A non-paused marketing department, to put it that way. Which also brings us neatly on to the next bit that I wanted to highlight. Something interesting from Bloomberg. I think this is the full article. This is a version that isn't paywalled anyway. And it says, investors in Japan drain 4.5 billion as they exit ESG funds. Now, ESG is like this equity, inclusion, diversity nonsense. Japanese good grief, these drugs are actually making my pronunciation worse. Japanese retail investors are abandoning ESG mutual funds. Investors pulled a total of 660 billion yen, equivalent to $4.5 billion, from ESG funds last year, according to the research from Morningstar. That's more than 4 times the outflows of 150 billion yen in 2022. The shift is due to investors favoring mutual funds focused on specific investment themes rather than sustainability goals related to ESG funds. In 2021, ESG funds boomed in Japan with total inflows of 1.8 trillion yen. Now investors are more interested in things such as foreign index funds. Rather than being a response to investor demand for sustainable investments, ESG was seen as a theme, said Daisuke Motori, Director of Manager Research at Morningstar Japan. The outflow of capital from ESG funds has hammered the industry's growth. According to the Morningstar report, there are no new ESG products launched between October and December of last year. Interest in ESG funds among retail investors is unlikely to recover. Good! That is a wonderful thing. Non-pause marketing doesn't exist. I kind of agree. See, ESG in Japan is a non-starter. I read somewhere, somebody who lives in Japan, I believe that was on a Kirsch's stream recently, said that if given a choice between becoming more diverse and just having a shrinking population, Japan will choose the shrinking population intentionally every single time, which, I kind of wish that Japan wasn't having a shrinking population, but I like that. I'm glad that Japan is seeing this for what it is. Because ESG for a long time has been propped up artificially. And I think that Japanese investors are finally realizing just how much of a bubble ESG funds actually are, and they are pulling out of it. ESG companies are permanently in the red. Well, yeah, but that's the thing about ESG marketing, is that ESG is funded by groups like BlackRock and very, very powerful investor kind of we make money agencies. So that what they do is they go to companies and they say, you will push our message for a year or so. And they admit often that they lose money. They admit that they lose money. That if a company invests, like gets ESG branding and so on, they lose money because consumers hate them. But BlackRock and other ESG pro companies just say to these groups, don't bother about it, because we will cover your losses. We will cover your losses, and we will artificially inflate your stock prices. And this has been proved. This has absolutely been proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that ESG companies have something like a 10% or this was maybe last year, so it has probably changed since then. Like if you have an ESG fund with BlackRock and so on, then your stock as a company goes up 10%. It's just flat 10%. But the thing is, if you're an actual investor or an economist, you look at that and you go, that's not how the market works. You can't just have a flat 10% increase overnight because you invested in something. This is obviously artificial. Luminous says Japan needs to get more xenophobic again and very heavily scrutinize what foreigners offer them in business deals. I agree. I completely and totally agree. And I think that Japan, this is the only aspect of Japan that I believe needs to become more multicultural. Japan needs to gain a more accurate understanding of English. The average Japanese person needs to level up their English skills, because people like Poltfan, who was on Kirsch's stream, has commented on this extensively, in that he's a guy who does translation and business in Japan as a living. And he points out that the greatest problem that the Japanese have, and what makes them vulnerable to infiltration, is that because of their very professionally orientated business culture, the Japanese, and their xenophobia in a way, is that they think that if they are professional towards a non-Japanese company, then that non-Japanese company will respond in kind and will be professional with them. They do not expect Western infiltration tactics. They are unprepared to deal with this ESG nonsense, and they're unprepared for foreigners saying to them, we will do something, and then just not doing it, or just not holding up their end of the bargain, or are artificially providing them with a product that they have been sold under false pretenses. And so I think that is the one thing that Japan genuinely needs to do in a multicultural environment. It needs to have people who understand the Western business mindset much more. They have to drop these stupid, archaic business ideas. That did work for a while, but have just proven to not work. That's why the Japanese economy is so stagnant, because they cling to these ways of doing things that are just inefficient. It's just like, again, like Poltfan says, is that they hire dozens of interns to do busy work that a simple spreadsheet program could automate overnight. But they do that because they expect everybody to go in at the ground floor and work their way up and become this intimate part of the business. They're expecting to deal with a corporation, not a political organization. Skinwalking is one. Yeah, exactly, Robotato, sorry. That there's that meme of the communist getting stabbed at a Japanese political rally, and I'm not going to show on screen because I have no idea if YouTube will even allow me to do that, where a prominent communist tried to make inroads into Japan, and he was stabbed to death on stage by the Japanese. And the caption to that famous photograph of this guy being stabbed and killed on the street when he tried to preach communism is, "Do not let evil take root." And foreign corporations, you pronounced it right, thank you, I actually got a name right for a change, is the Japanese are very good at rejecting foreign influence that is frankly evil. But when Western companies have learned they can meet half these Japanese, and they can pretend and they can skinwalk, and these Japanese companies will be fooled. And it can't happen. I want Japanese products made by Japanese people, and sometimes their products will be bad and they will be stupid, and it will be made with an outdated business sense. But it's not my place to say I would like them to change. I would like change to happen in some ways, but you can't just say, I want you to produce these products that I like, but produce them in a different way, please, because then the product itself would change. And if we get products from Japan that are good because of their bureaucracy and because of the old way of doing things, then okay, I'm happy with that. That's good. I know that, and instead of capitalizing on potential goodwill, the commie splintered as usual. Lol. Sadly, Japan's inability to understand the foreign companies on a linguistic level makes them very vulnerable. Yeah, precisely, Luminous. That's exactly what I mean. That they need to be more linguistically competent so they can see the traps, they can see the issues. And I would really, I do wonder if people like, I would love to talk, maybe I'll sling him a Twitter DM or something, or maybe ask Kirsche if I can slide into his DMs. Ooh. Just ask him, is there a position, do you think, in the Japanese business culture for the knowledgeable foreigner whose purpose in the business is to understand the culture of other businesses and go, this is, but who will work in favor of the Japanese business and warn them ahead of time. Look, you guys think this is a good thing, but this is why it isn't. This is the disingenuous part of their proposal. This is going to lead to bad consequences, and they are going to use this to try and get you to think and act like they do. This is something you should avoid, and here's why. To basically do market research for Japanese companies on ESG and nonsense like that, and make... Sorry, I'm going to move from my chair. Oh dear. To make presentations to them and be like, you need to watch out for this because these people are not acting in good faith and they are trying to manipulate you. They're probably going to get screwed over by the seniority worship. Yeah, I agree. It's a really difficult thing to deal with. And it might not work, but I would really love to ask somebody like Pultfan if that even is a thing that could be possible. 1 second. It is unidle-like to belch on stream. Which is why I muted myself. Right, anyway, back to just chatting for a second while let me just look up something else for a second. Come on, update, please. Yes, there we go. Oh, it's going to have a drink as well. Where on earth is that stupid tab that I did? Oh, yes, this was another... this wasn't made by a Nijisister. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think this was made by somebody who was critical of Nijisanji, but also if that position gets infiltrated, it would be really bad. Yeah, I agree. Robotato, so a non-partisan man in the middle to properly interpret what a Western company is saying. Yeah, pretty much. Basically, I mean, I can see that it's probably more vulnerable than it could be, but I mean, again, I live in hope. Here's another thing that I came across. Favoritism inside Nijisanji English. The initial 6 members of Nijisanji EN were recruited from the same audition. Lazulite made their debut slightly before Obsidia. Actually, let me just put this in the chat as well so that people can read this themselves if they would like to. This is reentry.org. If we are missing a sponsored stream merchandise opportunity, let me know if we can modify the statistics. So this is, before we continue any further, I just want to say that we already know this stuff happens in the Japanese branch. There are Japanese livers in Nijisanji who obviously have an immense amount of extra support compared to their regular livers. They get far more music videos, they get far more sponsored streams, all of this kind of stuff. And it's just unquestionable. Like, the numbers are there. Let's talk about the original 6 Lazulite Obsidia. Selen Tatsuki had to be looked up through that archive since everything was removed or made private and was no longer visible on playboard.co. So they're just laying out their documentation here. So then Selen Tatsuki subscribers, so she was the most subscribed. She had 766,000, so like over 150,000 more than everybody else. And then she had nearly 400,000 in super chats, in euros and dollars. And yet here's the interesting part. No Japanese. She gets 11 to 14 sponsored streams. Meanwhile, we have Illyra Pandora, 21, far fewer subscribers, super chats, lower super chat revenue, yet she speaks fluent Japanese. And then Petra, she gets far fewer super chats like Petra. Petra, I can understand the number of sponsored streams because Petra just has far lower revenues overall. And you have Pomu, who gets fewer collabs, Rosemi, who gets fewer collabs, and then Finana. So right at the top here is Illyra. And yet the rest of her stats don't really match up. Because again, you get Pomu, got 13 sponsorship streams, and yet she has double the revenue of Selen. Then you have, of course, the stupid fish, who I think is it's Petra that's the lowest, but like I think Finana ties with her, and I'll let me back at chat for a second. Risky but very beneficial if it worked. I see what you mean, sorry. To put this in perspective, let's say a sponsor pays you $4,000 on average per stream. I just want to say I have worked in sponsors before. Like, I've worked, the last job that I had I had fairly decent amounts of contact with sponsorships, and I worked for somebody who pretty regularly got like several 100,000 views on his videos. And sorry, I need another drink. And when he got like he got a few videos that were over 1 million views, and he based his. I'm not sure how this translates into CCV, because again, it was YouTube videos as opposed to live streaming. Yeah, he got like minimum several 100,000 views per video, and and I know that he was getting something like low end $12,000 per sponsored stream, high end up to something like $25,000 per sponsored stream. So the thing is, I don't actually know how this translates over into live streaming and CCV, so it could be different. Let's have a look. Yeah. So let's say a sponsor pays you $4,000 on average. I would be very surprised if it was only $4,000. I would say that probably more like $8,000 or $9,000 possibly. But again, that is complete speculation on my part. That's just a guess. So now you see payout per stream, 56,000, 84, 56, etc. In comparison to someone like Illyra, Selene has more views on sponsored streams. Pomu outperforms Illyra as well, with twice as many super chats and more subscribers. However, looking at the results of giving sponsors to the livers, you can conclude this did not translate to business opportunities for Selene and Pomu. This is strange, to put it mildly, when one only looks at the numbers. For a complete breakdown of the numbers, for attachment 1 of the paper, blah, blah, blah. So this guy has done his... I mean, look at this. This is enormous. I actually didn't even realize this was so long. But this guy has done his... He has done his research. And this is not some random... This is not some random nonsense of Nijisisters stuff. This guy's done his research. Just need to blow my nose again. 1 second. Luminous. Sponsors are very bad at judging how big a YouTube/streamer are. They care a lot about your highest viewed video, etc., not how much about CCV. Yeah, I agree. I can confirm that 100%, Luminous. This was something my boss was always complaining about, in that he said that constantly that if let's say he did a video that had 2 million views, and let's say the next video he did was he had 700,000 views, which was entirely possible. He would then complain that all sponsors from then on would base their rates on his 700,000 view video. Even if the past 5 videos had done like 1 million views, sponsors, the moment he got a video that did like half that much, then every single sponsor will be like, well, we can only pay you based on the rate of... we can only pay you based on the rate of your 700,000 view stream or video. Sponsors usually care more about 1 million sub with 300k with 300 CCV than a 500k sub account with 3,000 CCV. Yeah, and which is stupid, which is really stupid, which is really basic. Again, I have no formal marketing training at all, but I would immediately do exactly the same, well, the opposite of what Asihara has just said. I would never look at somebody's subscribers, because subscriber count is dead. Subscribers are dead. I mean, look at Illyra. Illyra has 500,000 plus subscribers, and yet how many viewers does Illyra have? I mean, Illyra's message, which is like the most viewed and most had the highest CCV of any video she has ever done, was something like 15,000 CCV. So that is less than 10% of her subs were watching her latest video. JSH talked about it recently. You can't just whip up a viral video. If you could, you would make it all do it all the time. Yeah, I agree. 100%. This was something my old boss complained about an awful lot. He would try and do stuff that he worked on for ages, would get like half as many views as stuff that he put half as much effort into. Sorry about the sniffing. My company sponsors some TikTokers to review our products. We send review samples alongside a 10% commission for their product codes. The only thing we really care about is if traffic comes in. Yeah. Also, she just recently bleed like 50k of her live subscriber count. Yeah, I agree. So it's slightly skewed. But yeah, if I was a marketer and I was looking for people to sponsor, I would always go by CCV, because CCV is eyes on the product. It's if a channel has 600,000 subscribers but only 300 CCV, then I'm not getting 600,000 subscribers worth of views. I'm getting 300 CCV worth of views. It's that simple. And let's say, and that's why I don't mind. I don't really care about my metrics on YouTube. I care a fair amount about my CCV obviously, because, you know, I'm a live streamer. Like, we seem to be hitting like 100 views, 100 CCV pretty decently, which I appreciate. Thank you so much. But I don't care much about my sub count, because my sub count is basically just the number of people that have subbed to me. It means nothing related to how many people are actually watching me at a time. And this is one thing that I wish YouTube was better at. People complain about it, and I do understand a lot. I do understand this very much from a viewer perspective. It really annoys me to be unsubscribed to a channel, but I do genuinely believe that YouTube should have a system where if you do not watch or interact with somebody's content for a long period of time, you should automatically maybe not be unsubscribed to them, but you should be discounted from the channel's metrics. You should no longer show as an active subscriber, maybe. I think that subscriber count on YouTube should be divided between active subscribers and inactive subscribers, and that metric should be front and center for every channel. The subscriber count means nothing, in my opinion. I had 400 people watching me during the start of the Nijisanji streams. I got maybe 20 viewers. No, I got actually about 200 subscribers out of that. I have no idea how many of those people are still watching me. Like, we don't sponsor low-effort stuff, of course, but we did help boost a small creator's channel growth because he did the work and pull in a lot of views. What about channels that go dormant for years and suddenly come back? I mean, I think there should be formulas to decide that. I'm not sure about it. Again, I don't claim this is a solution to anything, but I do genuinely believe that subscriber count should be based on multiple metrics as opposed to just one, hey, this person is subscribed to you thing. Anyway, back to this charming document. Ow, my face went. To summarize and taking into account the views, the amount of subscribers in the libraries, you can see there is a clear favoritism when looking at a numeric standpoint. Remember, I made this calculation with fictive cell numbers for comparison to showcase the difference from the original 6 members. Here's the subtotal. Lazulite has been favored as a wave, and within the wave, Illyra Pandora had special treatment because more business opportunities were provided to her by Nijisanji En. I think that is fairly accurate overall. Yeah, it shows here, Illyra Pandora obviously got more money. Doesn't matter what sponsor she had, she got more money. I mean, look at that, 30 opportunities. Even if she got less money per opportunity, she has had a third more opportunities than any other people. I didn't notice this, actually. Merch opportunities. Oh, I'm too... Sorry, I kind of got out of place, sorry. The merch opportunities, so I didn't even look at this first. Illyra has a clear advantage in merch opportunities as well, 30 compared to 22. Since we don't know the specific merch number, we do need an example for calculation's sakes. Let's say that Nijisanji makes 100k with every merch deal on average. Now we can do the math for what the libraries might get out of this, so we can compare amongst themselves. Yes, the 2% meme. 44,000 euro, 60,000 euro. Yep, I believe this. Overall, this seems like a sensible conclusion. Let's say you are a salesperson, you're working for a company and have co-workers. You sell and outperform your co-workers on many levels. However, at the end of the year, you learn you get paid a lot less in salary and commissions than other co-workers that did not perform at your level. In Western culture, this would raise many questions about work ethic, favoritism, and other factors. You would want to know why they got these opportunities instead of you. Yes, I agree. And here we have the physical events. Let me just look back at chat for a second. It's so odd because Illyra was very much out of the spotlight prior to this drama. Makes me believe the Garat a lot more. Her showing up in a black screen video was a huge surprise. Inactive would be way more overrepresented the same way CCV is underrepresented. Yeah, I agree. You need views and CCV for a decent grasp on a channel reach. CCV alone is not good enough. I agree with that too. Yeah, I know. Illyra is always somebody that I have known in the back of my head is just known as the person who gets more attention than everybody else despite not being at the forefront in overall CCV and presentation. And that has been something that has gone back since her debut. There's been the Garat, I don't believe. Like, I think that it is too much speculation. It went far too far out of proportion. The idea that Illyra has a privileged position within Nijisanji EN, I think, is a fairly sensible thing to see. Luminous. In Western business culture, the answer to that question would be your co-workers having a more preferable skin color and sexuality. Yeah, sadly, pretty much. The physical events. Again, if I'm missing events, since we do not know the specific numbers of what Nijisanji pays the livers per event, we make an estimate of Euro 2,000 per lifer per event for average per appearance. And again, Illyra is at least up there with Pomu. Lazulite has been favored as a wave, and within the wave, Illyra Pandora had special treatment because more business opportunities were provided for her by Nijisanji. Again, I already read that, sorry. Yeah, but this is all the receipts. Did I put this in? Yeah, I did put this in. I already put this in chat, sorry. So yeah, this is the kind of data. Oh, it has dark mode. Oh, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay, nothing happens when I put that. Illyra just streams on her island on her own. Yeah. I wonder how many collabs Illyra has had. If somebody put side by side, that's interesting extra data that I would like to see. If by some chance the guy who made this is watching my stream, I want to see how many collabs Illyra has had compared to other Nijisanji members. One moment, maybe have a sip of something. Oh, that is delicious. I literally just had a sip of sriracha caramel sauce from the bottle. Oh, that was delicious. Absolutely some of the best sauce I've ever had. Look at an apple too. Crunchy, 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 crunchy. I'm actually going to mute myself for a second. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm just biting into my apple. Oh, that tastes so good. And for other stuff, let me just close this tab. We have, I'll get to that in a second. This was one of, oh dear. It's also been the Uki Violetta drama, which I'm not going to cover in detail because Uki has already been covered by Kirsha, and I know my audience has a pretty large overlap with Kirsha. But I saw this that wasn't featured on Kirsha's stream, which I find highly entertaining. Because we've got the 2024 plan to show Uki Violetta that white people can be kind of chill sometimes. Never give up. And this was, of course, let me just scroll down because it was the start of this stream, yes. Where was it? And of course, Nijisanji Defense Force is crying about this on Twitter. Did I have this? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Yeah, disappointing. And this person even did their own archiving. This was Jasmine, DJ Jazzy J2 Real. What a nightmare of a name. Disappointing as F from both of them, but unsurprising from people who both make it clear they're cool with N-word jokes. Nyanners also defended Vibe when she said the R slur. Doesn't surprise me coming from shills. And this tweet was deleted. The original was deleted, but this person was kind enough to archive it for us. They don't say who the original reply was from. XCOM Kitty, yeah, so Kitty Litter 89 was this person. And their original post was, another one for the block list. If any of you want it, 07. We'll delete this in a bit because I don't want to spread too much negativity. But yeah, surprise, surprise. Who would have guessed that the people with a history of sucking ass suck ass? And I just don't forget it. I just don't forget it. Don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Why is this a bad thing? Why is this a bad thing? Because this guy is just a Debbie Downer on white people. It's that simple. He is an asshole towards white people. The Proctor is taking a cue from his Kami Oshi Kirsha and just straight sauce maxing for the ultimate streaming dominance. I really love Sriracha caramel. I think it's Sriracha, actually. Sriracha caramel, Korean. It's Korean Sriracha caramel sauce. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It is unironically one of some of the most delicious sauce I've ever had. I have it on sandwiches, I have it on salads, I have it on everything, and I literally just sip it from the bottle because, oh, it's so good. It is so good. But yeah, I don't understand this. It's this, I don't want to spread negativity. So why did you post it? Of course you wanted to spread negativity. You deleted it later because you were angry at the backlash that you got from it. But the thing is, this person can't even hide it. I got a DM. I got a ping. Oh, okay. Sorry, that was just a DM. Just a DM from somebody. I thought it was somebody from the on the Discord. Uki was surely dumped by a white guy. Is Uki gay? Like, is that an official thing, or is that just like his role? That's the thing. I don't know if he is gay or not because, again, the Fujoshi audience just wants them to be gay anyway. So I don't know if he's like, that's his official sexuality. I hate everyone in this conversation. Yeah, because Nanners has her own backstory because she was one of those people that appealed to the 4chan crowd for ages. Yep, he is gay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. He says that he's gay. Okay, I've got you. I don't like to make assumptions with the Fujoshi crowd because they like to pretend that every guy they like is gay for some reason. Oh, pardon me. Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry. Yeah, this touches on all of this stuff that Uki, a lot of people on places like VT and so on have been said that Uki has been stealth suspended. And again, I don't think that I really do not think that there are people from Nijisanji who are actively posting on VT. The impression that I have gotten from all the people who have talked to me who have in some way interacted with livers from Nijisanji have said that that kind of person, the person who joins Nijisanji, they don't like VT. They would not intentionally leak stuff on VT because they know that it would get them backlash, and they know that people will obsessively try and figure out who it is, and it's just attention they don't want. So I don't believe there is some deep insider who is part of Nijisanji actively leaking stuff on VT, so I don't believe it. But I do believe that people inside Nijisanji are talking to people like, say, their artists or their past life friends, people who were friends with them in their past lives. Because remember, a lot of these people are women, and women love to gossip. Women love to gossip. And those people are in turn talking to other people who are going on VT and posting third-hand stuff that they have heard. And I definitely believe that Uki has been stealth suspended. Everything else, I don't really believe. Like, remember, February the 23rd was that day when something major was going to happen in Nijisanji. I don't know, they seem pretty men-hero, so they might get sucked into VT in a rage-bait way. Yeah. I mean, I'll guarantee you this. There are some VTubers out there who do post on VT. I cannot say who they are, but the idea that some VTubers post on VT, yeah, that's true, 100%. Which ones is it? I don't even know 100%, but I mean, you'd have to be a fool to think there aren't some drama tubers out there who deliberately post on VT and lie about stuff all the time. Women don't know how to STF. Look at 35. Look at 39 IQ DAF. Oh yeah, the 39 IQ DAF stuff was pretty wild, but I mean, it kind of passed me by, so I have no real comment on it. Pretty sure some of them have leaked crap to Purple Keemstar. Yeah, the thing is about that people like Kyo and Purple Keemstar, they're not going to say all of this stuff because the trouble is that because of the compartmentalization of Nijisanji especially, if somebody was to leak stuff, then it would be very easy to tell who it was. And those kind of people would be contractually liable for their rumor mongering. You can bet your ass any good company is going to have some kind of contract, a clause in its contract which says you can't leak stuff like that, and that's 100% fair. Every company should have that kind of clause in their contract. I'm gonna be right behind that. It's really funny to think that VT is just all VTubers gaslighting each other and no viewer is even on there. Stop calling false purple Keemstar. It's an insult to the gnome. Oh, this is a lovely apple. Who else is beeping me? There is somebody who is pinging me in VTuber discussion. Let's have a look at it. Show the play. I will show the play button. Yeah, 12:15. So this was two or 3 minutes ago. I'm just gonna share this tweet also in the chat. But yes, gentlemen, Riku will not be plating his yacht with this one. Lumi, that could imply Fauna is sapling posting. I love the theory that Mume hinted her design on VT before her debut. Yeah. I mean, also, look at Ayunda Risu. Like, Risu is 100% here on the boards. Like, she has multiple times referenced things that have come from 4chan knowledge and lingo. You can bet your ass that Risu at least browses places like VT and 4chan and the image boards. She's practically self-reported it. In fact, I think she has literally self-reported it multiple times. And I think that's fine. I think that VTuber fans should be allowed to go where VTubers should be allowed to look at anything they like. Fauna sapling posting would be great. I could believe that. I could believe that. My first YouTube play button that I own. Yeah, that's really cute. That's really cute. I can't believe it. My first YouTube play button that I own. Thank you, Dragoons, for helping. She's just calling them Dragoons. That's cute. For helping me accomplish this. Now let's try and get 1 million before the end of the year. Let's go. Much congratulations. Is there anyone here that's like dunking on Nijisanjo making yacht puns? No, not really, actually. Okay. People are being remarkably magnanimous overall in that regard. Dokibird FPS. Why is the name so weird? Can I zoom in on that? Oh no, I have to do this stupid thing. Dokibird FPS VTuber FBTTVYT. Why is the name that weird? That's strange. I don't like that. I'd like it to be... She truly uses her BPD for good. Yeah. I mean, fair. Massive props to her. Massive props to Dokibird for coasting through this so well. That's BB posting her schedule. Cute Drow is doing stuff this week, which is nice. Now I should close that tab now that it's done. Everything's done. Everything's done. Oh yeah, this is another funny thing that I saw. This was Idle EN, and this is Juna Unagi saying, "Fun games in roughly 2 hours. Got lots of friends this time. Tee-hee." This was yesterday. And you can see right here that Yuko Yurei is there. And then just a little while before she goes live, Juna Unagi goes, "Also, Yuko won't be joining us today since she feels unwell." Yes, she feels very unwell. Because she's streaming as rye is bread at the same time. As Takadachi says, "Oh no, Boo Bros, not like this." She was streaming as Rye Project while this collab was ongoing instead of being in there, and I find that really funny. Hey, Procdoki just got her play button. I literally had it on screen 5 minutes ago. Facebook, Twitch TV, YouTube. Oh, I see. And yeah, I'm not going to comment too much about Yuko because, my goodness, that is a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down again. But Idle is definitely going to be a company that is worth looking in on. Yeah, trouble in Idle land. What is going on at Idle to allow this? Pardon me for sniffing. Idle claims that Idle has done two things recently, because somebody pointed out quite recently that Idle agreed. Avival said on, I think it was on Twitter or maybe their website, I forget where. If somebody has a link to this, it would be nice, but not essential. That Avival said publicly that he was going to release Idle's contract. That he was going to make Idle's contract with its livers public. So that everybody, it was part of his correct big dunking on, he was dunking on Nijisanji. This was, as when Nijisanji was messing around, had that 2%, meme about merch sales. Like, Idle kind of struck back at them, as I recall, and publicized how much its revenue share was and what its talents got from merch sales and so forth. And that was very obviously a hit out at places like Nijisanji. And then they said they were going to release their contract so that everybody would know what kind of contract their livers were signing. Collab with Brave? Oh yeah, sorry, Asahara, I thought you were asking me to collab with Brave for a second. But they have not released their contract. That's the interesting thing. So that is one promise they have explicitly broken, at least at this point. And now we have this thing where an awful lot of Idle talents are being suspiciously active on their past life or alternative accounts. So I see trouble in Idle land, and I think it's strange because Idle really was in the big leagues for a while. I mean, they still have a lot of CCV. So Idle, I think, might be the next Nijisanji, and I hope they're not, because again, I prefer if drama doesn't happen, because I want people to just get along, guys. I just want people to get along. But maybe not. We'll see. Either way, my confidence in the Jews has been just slightly shaken in the last few years, the last few months rather. Brave bought Idle, didn't they? No. No, Brave has not bought Idle. Idle is in collaboration with Brave Media Group, but however, the problem is that Brave has a track record of buying out companies that it collaborates with. So what people's worry currently is, as far as I am aware, is that the Brave partnership will lead to a buyout of Idle by Brave. And that's a possibility. I think that it's a credible possibility. And it's caused a lot of discontent. Because, and I don't know why exactly, but Brave apparently has not such a brilliant reputation. I don't know anything really about Brave Group, but yeah. Sorry, I'm going to belch. Oh dear. Oh god, a world where we have edgy Hololive Face Connect and edgy Nijisanji Idle Core. Zen Gunman, they have a partnership, but no sale has been announced. Rin Penrose defending Idle during the start of the Corpo hate, kicked off by Niji 2% revenue drama, seems very ironic now. Yeah, a little bit ironic, definitely. Sippy, watery water. But yeah, Idle definitely one to watch, and I really hope that they manage to pull through, and I hope they come off the lolly kick that they're on, because good grief, the Boo Bro fan base wanted to make me put a shotgun between my teeth. Yep, so that's those tabs taken care of. And also, speaking of, we have a signal. A signal is being sent. Can I zoom out a little bit of that? There we go. Speaking of Brave Group, actually, that this is Pippa Pebblesworth of the company whose name I already forgot that was a part of Brave Group. And I've watched a bit of Pippa Pebblesworth as well, because she is very cute, and she is very, very British, and I like me some British VTubers. And she has put out a signal, a ridicule signal. I think that Pippa Pebblesworth is trying to get Ridicule's attention. I think that Thrang, you would agree that Pippa Pebblesworth is very definitely trying to get her Globy. Thank you, Globy. She is Pippa had better watch out, because she has another Pippa. There is another Pippa out there, a blue Pippa no less, a blue Pippa who is trying to take Ridicule away from her. quit being a Kurt anti-Proctor. Ah, yes, a beloved two-squirt Kurt. Brave is hard to get a handle on because they're not a brand name, they're not a company, they're not the company, they're the company that owns the company. Viespo, Globi, V4 Mirai, all of them are under Brave Group. Yeah, I know they own a lot of VTuber companies, definitely. Apologies for the sniffoo. Whenever I hear the word brave, I think of don't say brave if you actually mean racist meme. I have never heard of that meme, actually. Luminous, I've never heard of that meme. But I just want to say, this woman, a second Pippa, has hit the reticule building. I think Pink Pippa would appreciate Blue Pippa's diversionary sacrifice. But, I have a serious question. How do you... Is that bacon or something? Why is it blue? Why is it blue? Is that blue food coloring or something? I am very disturbed by this, honestly. I am highly disturbed by this blue stuff. It looks very, very strange. And also her eggs are over easy. I think that's over easy eggs, but I don't like it when people do that. I like the yolk nice and runny. I like runny yolk. I don't like it when people flip them over to make the yolk all hard. I much prefer like a runny yolk that I can dip stuff in. Ah. Oh, dear. Give me just 5 seconds while I have another bite of my apple. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. No clue, probably blue food coloring pancake. The Pippa Jason from Accio Air Wishy. Is this the world-famous British femboy and 3-view PNG VTuber Proctor Zakharov? Yagul, best bod in Hololive. Is this your first time? Is this your first time chatting or something? British people will never defeat the disgusting food allegations after this. Oh God, Meatpa meets Meatpa. That's a good name. I'll have. You know, she can have that name. Congratulations, Zen Gunman. Oh yeah, but I'm gonna bite my apple. It's probably waffle mix. Okay, interesting. I have never had waffles in my life. I've had pancakes, but not waffles. They're an artificial foodstuff that a family of mine will not tolerate. Sorry, I need to blow my nose yet again. I can feel my throat starting to bother me a bit, and my nose run a bit more, so I'm not going to... How long am I on live for, even? But 2 hours and 19 minutes? You joking? That's amazing. Yeah, I've never had waffles before. It's an American thing. Like, British people don't really eat waffles. I mean, they do, kind of, but not the country Brits that I'm familiar with. But there is something else. You may have noticed the stream title. And this was actually the reason why I decided to because I like Kirscha's, obviously. I like Tangent Friday. I like Tangent Friday a lot. And recently I've been seeing a lot of material that is basically worthy of Tangent Friday, but which I know that Kirscha probably won't cover. I actually sent her the CIA and the M&M machine stuff. I noticed that on Twitter, and I was like, I need to talk about this. I absolutely need to talk about this. So we're going to get TVA news on a Monday, because I have decided that I'm going to stream consistently every Monday and Wednesday, and I honestly do not like playing games on stream all that much, although I might play RimWorld on Wednesday, which I really enjoy. I feel the need to play RimWorld again, and doing a RimWorld stream for chat with chat members as RimWorld characters would be quite fun. Waffles is weird, pancakes, fight me. I agree, pancake supremacy. American thing, yeah, everyone forgets about Belgium sometimes. Everybody forgets that Belgium exists. Luminous, become the Kirscha yourself. I'm going to stalk her and become obsessed with her and wear her dresses and her makeup. No, I'm not gonna go full Sam Hyde with Kirscha, okay? Proctor will become the Kirscha? No, I'm not like that. I'm not that far down the rabbit hole, guys. I'm not that far down the Kirscha hole. He's becoming a streamer! Can't wait what fates await the chatters then. Don't worry, Thrang and Reinigan will not have to be circumcised in order to continue being my moderators once I become full Kirsche. Okay, calm down there, Buffalo Bill. But yeah, also the Postal dude says trans rights thing. That was absolutely fascinating to me, which I found hilarious. Yeah, Shizu on Twitter said, for some reason the Postal developer decided to get really mad at some random account that posts anti-trans memes. I guess the psychotic mass murderer says trans rights. See, this is the hilarious thing. That Postal, for people like me, Postal was the original edgy game, okay? I've no idea how many people know what Postal even is, but Postal was a spree shooter game that came out in something like 2006 or whatever, where you literally played as a deranged serial killer whose task was to murder the entire town and slaughter everyone in really graphic and violent ways. It was released as like a parody of... It was released as a parody of, because that was when Jack Thompson and the GTA scandals were really in the media, where the media was like, video games cause violence. And then here comes Postal, where the original Postal was literally a spree killing simulator. It was like a murder simulator style game. And then Thrang's rights. Postal 2 would have made fun of the AGPs if they were as prevalent back then, just as it made fun of everyone in its time period. Yeah, I agree. And Postal 2 was a 3D version of Postal 1, because Postal 1 was 2D. And Postal 2 was a game that I quite enjoyed too. Kirsche used to play Postal 2 as well. I mean, again, Postal 2 is ironic too, because in Postal 2, you can actually complete Postal 2 without killing a single person. If you manage to complete Postal 2, the game will actually call you Jesus. On the end screen, Postal 2 will call you, it will say something like, thanks for playing this game, Jesus, if you complete the game without killing anybody. And then... yeah, this person, is that a sheep or a goat? I can't tell. Is valid, phobic, and proud, where it says, Postal dude from Postal dude is transphobic and proud. And then Running with Scissors, who are the creators of the Postal series, say, he is definitely not transphobic, lol. Postal 4 was already cucked. This is nothing new to me, still sad. I didn't even know that Postal 4 was in development. This is Mike J's doing. He has been wishy-washy for years through the development of Postal 4. Morigi 192 says, yeah, it was all about being as awful as possible. Yeah, like Postal 2 was one of those great games where you could be as awful as you liked. And that was kind of the point. You could be, but you didn't have to. How evil you were in Postal 2 was up to you. You could play the dude as a nice guy, unironically. You could play him as maybe not a good person, but at least somebody who was not an indiscriminate monster. You could play him as somebody who just defended himself, or you could play him as a complete psychopath that slaughtered absolutely everything in his path for no reason whatsoever. Also, he's the main reason behind the corporate tweets. I mean, I guess they technically have a point. The Postal dude is an equal opportunity offender. I mean, maybe. But what he's saying, he is definitely not transphobic. And then he says that implicitly. And then they try and walk it back. This tweet should go onto the wall of shame. This is peak material for grown men answer to a gimmick account argument. That's like saying he's racist for killing people of all races. That doesn't make sense. Your mom should cut the internet to your basement, lol. It always baffles me, and Fallen Shadow here, it always baffles me when writers see villains as capable of murder, rape, and torture, but see it as problematic that they have socially vindictive opinions and look down on minorities. A villain acting a certain way doesn't mean you condone the bad stuff they do. And that's a highly accurate analysis of it. It's very clear that what they are talking about. Yeah, precisely. If Blue Pippa and Pink Pippa collab, do they make trans Pippa? Hell, I'm pinning that. That's hilarious. Three is funnier than four somehow. Man, I remember playing Postal 2. That's hilarious. That's like Niji tier biting the bait response. I agree. That's just such a terrible look for people that used to be very based and completely unapologetic about what they did. No, you just get diet Fuwamoku. Was there more of it? Average Postal, okay. Some people are like pro it, grown ass. Oh dear, we're getting into the furry stuff. Let's scroll back up. Let's escape this. And speaking of nonsense on Twitter, good, my voice really is starting to go. Speaking of nonsense on Twitter, there is also this. This was posted. This was posted on Twitter. Now, unfortunately, that tweet has been deleted, and I wasn't able to get an archive of it, but I have the elements of this tweet as archives, rather than the tweet itself, so that will have to do. So this was posted, and it popped up on my timeline. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Technoblade supports Free Palestine. This was posted by an account. I forget which account. If somebody has a link to the account itself, I would appreciate it. And this got, as this screenshot says, this got 14,000 likes. This got 14,000 likes, and this was yesterday. And this deeply upset me to read, because Technoblade is one of the OG YouTubers that I used to watch. I really enjoyed Technoblade's content, and Technoblade was a real inspiration for me because he was one of those people who was always himself. He never tried to pander to the crowd. He was almost totally apolitical. He was just an autistic man who was very, very focused on being good at block game and killing people very effectively in block game. And he was always so wholesome. Like, Technoblade was an incredibly wholesome guy. And he made people around him more wholesome. He'd collab with streamers who would, like, casually drop F-bombs and all of this. And he would be polite, he would be nice, and they would tone themselves down around him. He brought people together. He was a wonderful YouTuber. And then he died of cancer. Like, he was taken from us, and people like DSP still survive. And he died in, June 2022, I think. And his death was a dreadful, tragic thing that thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people were really mourning over. His Potato War series was great. Yeah, Technoblade was just a fantastic content creator. Blade Sunset, okay, that's the person who posted this. And then, so, more than a year after Technoblade dies of cancer, one of the most apolitical streamers out there, some asshole on Twitter gets 14,000 likes for putting up this picture, which politicizes a dead VTuber. YouTuber, sorry. I get VTuber and YouTuber mixed up when I'm talking about different ones. I was really upset from this. I was really, really upset. Died nearly 2 years ago. Nearly 2 years ago. That's why I just responded to this. I said, this man died over a year ago. He was almost totally apolitical. This is absolutely disgusting and horribly exploitative. People like you are why nobody wants to help Palestinians. Who would possibly look at this shameless abuse of a dead man and think, I now love this cause? And that's what I don't understand. Now, I'm just going to get political for about 5 seconds here and say that I really think that what the Israelis are doing in Palestine is completely horrific. I've seen a whole load of footage from it. I've seen all this horrible stuff that is going down. I think that the Israeli response in Palestine is totally unjustifiable to the lengths that it has gone. And there's been a whole load of stuff come out that the death toll from the Gazan attack on Israel might be as low as 600, with a large number of Israeli casualties caused by their own military firing into crowded streets and so on. So it's obviously a massively disproportionate response. But the people who are supporting the Palestinians are just terrible people. They absolutely poison their own cause. They are all these insane, demented, ultra-woke leftist people, or these ultra-progressive people who the average Hamas member would kill on sight. Do you really think that if a guy with rainbow hair who identified, as a trans lesbian went to Gaza and tried to hang out with a Hamas member, do you think that Hamas member would be okay with it? Yeah, a bit of friendly fire with attack helicopters is the rumor. I mean, I've seen pretty in-depth analysis of it that says that, yeah, a lot of Israeli civilians were killed by their own side. This is the Israeli military itself. The Israeli military has stated publicly, it has in its own training manuals, their attitude is, if an Israeli soldier is captured by a foreign combatant like Hamas and so on, the standard procedure is to kill that soldier to prevent him from becoming a political hostage. Like, if you are an Israeli soldier and you are captured by Hamas and like another platoon of Israeli soldiers sees you being taken away, they're going to chuck a grenade at you. It's that simple. They're going to try and kill you because they don't want you to become a hostage. It is part of their official military doctrine and training. Or even just an average Palestinian guy, the opinions on gay people, etc., are incredibly bad, even among moderate Palestinians. I mean, the Palestinians are very open to dialogue with homosexuals. They have entire rooftops dedicated to that kind of thing, so I've heard. So, see, that's your problem. You're putting more brain power into this within a minute than these people are capable of throughout their entire lives. Yeah. It just upsets me that, again, I feel a lot of sympathy for... A lot of people are horribly down on things like, say, the refugees from Syria. I've never met a bad Syrian refugee. I remember that Ireland had a whole load of Syrian refugees. Now, I agree, there are plenty of bad refugees in Ireland that are obviously economic migrants and so on. They're just pretending to be migrants. But I mean, every single Syrian refugee that I have spoken to, and I've spoken to a lot of them, they are soft-spoken, they are quiet, they are introverted. A lot of them are horribly traumatized by what happened in Syria with Assad. A lot of them have families, a lot of them have children. They are nice, decent people who are often very highly qualified. Unironically, a lot of them are doctors and lawyers who do their best. And it's just like with the Ukrainians. A lot of the Ukrainian refugees have an incredibly good reputation because of all the good things they did for people who agreed to house them. Like, there have been Ukrainian refugees who have moved in with people and refused to let them do the cooking or the laundry because they say, no, you've given us this house to live in. We're going to take care of you now. You've done something for us, so we're going to do something with you. And I think that is an incredibly heartfelt attitude. And I think that should be praised. But these people are just what give all of that a terrible name. And it depresses me that they are going out there and causing more damage than even the people who have the trucks. They are causing more damage than the trucks of peace, because at least you can say the trucks of peace are extremists, whereas this is the average. This is the average kind of nonsense that you're expected to deal with in current clown world year. Sorry, there's a message showing in chat that is not showing on my stream elements for some reason. Let me just read it. I'm surprised there aren't more Norman Finkelsteins, honestly. I know who Norman Finkelstein is. Doesn't Norman Finkelstein appear on Glenn Greenwald's show sometimes? Sorry, let me just put up, just chatting for a second. The funny part is that the anti-Semitism is what's doing the cause in, when their actual decolonization cause is so much worse. It depends. Poland is being swarmed by Ukrainians who live nowhere near the combat zones, just coming over for Gibbs. Oh yeah, I think I've said this story before, but it's the case of when Ukrainian refugees first came over to Ireland, they were put up in the local sports stadium, and an awful lot of them were women and children who came over with nothing but the clothes on their backs. So my local church several people in my local church decided that, they were decently well off, and what they were going to do was they would do a charity effort. They would take a lot of their old clothes, or a lot of their spare clothes that hadn't even been worn. They were going to package them all up, and they were going to send them to this center. Sorry, one second. And they were going to donate them to these women and children that were currently in this sports stadium, shivering and cold with, because it's a sports stadium, it's not going to have good heating, especially in the Irish winter. And so they gave these packages to the sports center personnel, and a day later, most of them were sent back. And they asked, why did you not give these aid packages to these Ukrainians? And the staff told them, you don't understand. We did give them. We gave these packages of clothing to these Ukrainians. And the first thing they did was they opened them up. They went through all of them. And then they said, we're not going to wear these because they aren't branded. They won't wear any clothes with a value of less than 100 euros, or which don't have branding on them. They don't want these clothes. They want stuff that's I don't even know what a good clothing brand line is, but they won't wear anything that's not branded. That kind of, they are good people is reason why there are massive protests in UK calling for Sharia law across all the country. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but Chad refugee versus virgin asylum seeker, yeah. And again, on the flip side, as I said earlier, the difference is that all of those Ukrainians who were like that, they were from the cities. They were from Kyiv and other big cities in Ukraine. Those were all the Ukrainian city slickers. But the Ukrainians from the countryside are the ones who were content to live in people's basements, and in return for that charity, they did things like say, I'm now going to do all of your washing up. I'm going to clean your house from top to bottom. I'm going to cook one meal a day for you, minimum. Those were the people that from the countryside who still had traditional values, who still had traditional appreciation for other people's labor, for other people's charity, and had respect, who felt, we are an imposition on this country. So we need to prove that we can contribute to the economy, that we can contribute to the people that are giving us charity, that we can show how much we appreciate what you have given out of your often out of your want, out of the people, because remember, Ireland has an awful lot of homeless people itself. And there is an intense level of respect for those people, for those Ukrainians who came in from the countryside and were so grateful and so ready to give back who said, you've given us the bare minimum, and now let us show you how sincere we are, how sincerely grateful we are. Those are heartwarming stories. Whereas the women who came from the cities and chucked out all of the clothing that wasn't branded, they don't get any more charity. Nobody gives them stuff anymore. Like, it's amazing. If you're a nice person, then people are nice to you. It's an astonishing thing, isn't it? If you don't act like an entitled asshole, people give you more stuff. It's amazing. Pardon me. Oh dear. Have another drink. Let me just close those tabs. Have we got through them? Yep, we've got through all those. I'll save this one for another time. That's another one that I will. Yeah, there's more stuff, but this I really liked. This is one of the subjects of this stream that I want to bring out because I loved this. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Students at the University of Waterloo discovered that their candy machines were covertly collecting facial recognition data when vending.facialrecognitionapp.exe crashed. Let me just put this in the chat as well so people can look up this thread too. It's almost as if the vibes you put out into the world come back to you. Yes, I agree. 100%. That's a very simple thing. And then more than just being a headline, which is what I really respected. Let's just open this image for a second and have a look at it. Because you can see here, you can see the exception, unknown software exception. Okay, that's a weird error. So you can tell right there, vending.facial recognition app. So that's fair. And then down here, the nice guy said, the local news maths did a great job covering it. I'll post their story. Here we are. Oh, I love this. I haven't actually read this before, but I love this already just from the first line. Let me have a drink before I start this. Let me just check to make sure it's showing on the... Oh, wait, no. My apologies. I didn't realize I wasn't just chatting. My apologies. I didn't realize that I was not tabbed in properly. There we go. There we go. And I have put the Twitter link, so if anybody wants to look at it, I'll just look back up for a second. There we go. Here we are. There we go. I'll just leave that on screen for 5 seconds. The hell? Yep, I agree. It's an interesting time. So yeah, that's the tweet from Andrew Curran. This advanced anti-stealing tech. The anti-stealing tech is a guard at the door preventing you from stealing, but, that's illegal in current year. But now I shall read this rather wonderful article. The M&M's machines are watching you. In Math News 154.2, Lars Nootbaar wrote of Tucker Carlson's obsessive hatred of modern day's M&Ms. The article was excellent, but surely Tucker Carlson's rants about M&Ms being a symbol of the downfall of freedom are entirely unfounded, right? No. The M&M's machines are watching you. On Saturday, the 10th of February, at 8:16 p.m., r/U Waterloo user usquidkid47 posted a picture of a strange error message found upon one of the ubiquitous canary yellow M&M's machines. In vendor vending facial recognition app exe application error. Who are the companies involved, and what do they want with your face? Let's take a few steps back. What exactly are these vending machines doing, and who is responsible? Math News investigative journalist Thirsty contacted Plant Ops, good grief, who claim zero involvement with the vending machines. This leaves operational responsibility with the company operating the machines, Adaria Vending Services. Adaria does not make the machines. First, he determined the machine's original manufacturer to be Invendor Group, an organization boasting intelligent vending machines with data collection capabilities. Some data collected is benign, I completely disagree, including sales and UI performance metrics. But Adaria can also use these machines to collect further data, sending it to relevant parties, including Mars, the manufacturer of M&Ms. In particular, Invendor's sales brochures state the machines are capable of sending estimated ages and genders of every client. This sounds familiar. Cadillac Fairview's demographic data collection affair. 6 years ago, Cadillac Fairview, owner of landmark shopping malls across Canada, became mired in controversy when the CBC discovered them to be using facial recognition software on unsuspecting patrons. Across 8 weeks, they collected data on 5,060,000 patrons using secret cameras hidden within their malls' informational kiosks. Sound familiar? In the Privacy Commissioner of Canada's subsequent investigation, it was revealed that Cadillac Fairview used the kiosk facial recognition capabilities for similar goals as Invendor machines enable, demographic data collection on users' ages and genders. Facial recognition software isn't inherently malicious. Many use Apple's Face ID every day. The key is that in such situations, the individual provides express, meaningful consent. Let me just look back at chat for a second. TFW gang stalked by M&M's mascots. Man, I only ever get M&M's loose from those glass jar vending machines. Overlays picture of Uncle Ted at 50% opacity. Plant Ops seems like a company that specializes in sleeper agents. Yeah, I agree, it's weird. I put the quarters in, you give me the candy. Why do you need my face? Blame Canada. I agree. Always blame Canada. It's a safe bet. It's as safe as a bet as blaming Nijisisters. When personally identifiable biometric data is used without express meaningful consent, it often constitutes a privacy violation. A response from Adaria vending machines. We could not responsibly publish this article without providing Adaria vending machines the chance to respond. Below is their Director of Technology Services unedited response. What's most important to understand is that the machines do not take or store any photos or individuals, and an individual person cannot be identified using the technology in the machines. The technology acts as a motion sensor that detects faces. The machine knows when to activate the purchasing interface, never taking or storing images of customers. In partnership with Mars and Invenda, these machines are fully GDPR compliant and are in use in many facilities across North America. At the University of Waterloo, Adira manages last miles fulfillment services. We handle restocking and logistics for the snack vending machines. Adaria does not collect any data about its users and does not have any access to identify users of these M&M machines. We'll look back to that in a second. Although Adaria may not personally collect data from the machines, this does not prevent Invenda from collecting demographic information. Neither does it prevent Invenda from sending this information to M&M's manufacturer Mars. A contradictory statement from Invenda. 2 hours before the Math News publication deadline, we received the following response from Invenda's founder and executive chairman. As the producer of the Invenda IoT solution, the Invenda Smart Vending Machine and its assisted software, we formally warrant that the demographic detection software integrated into the Smart Vending Machine operates entirely locally. It does not engage in storage, communication, or transmission of any imagery or personally identifiable information. The software conducts local processing of digital image maps derived from the USB optical sensor in real time, without storing such data on permanent memory mediums or transmitting it over the network to the cloud. They go on to say it is imperative to note that the Invenda software does not possess the capability to recognize any individual's identity or any other form of personal information. Further, Invenda's smart vending machines and its software are compliant with general data protection regulation and equivalent data privacy policies. And, as Kirsche would say, I just don't believe you. I simply don't believe these people. Still seems highly illegal. Courts would wipe their asses with that. I agree. Why have a sensor if you're not losing it, Lamau? Yeah. Yeah, no, they don't use this face tech unless it's profitable. Precisely. See, this is the problem. If it was just an infrared sensor that like say a door sensor that detected if you were standing in front of it, then okay, I can believe that. But for have it to be a facial recognition app, there is zero reason not to be storing facial recognition data, because that is highly profitable. And also, if this software is what it is, why isn't it open source? I watch a lot of Louis Rossmann, and as Louis Rossmann points out, it is completely pointless for these companies to say that their data, that their software is compliant with GDPR or any of this stuff, because they can just be lying. And they have been caught lying multiple times in the past. There is no reason to trust the statements of these companies. They have every business incentive to lie to your face, and they have been caught doing so before. So until somebody can go through the source code of these machines and tell me 100% factually with citations that they are not storing this data, then I don't believe it. And even if they are not storing this data, that means the data at some point exists within the system, and there is no guarantee on any level that they won't just at some point do a software update, because they say it's cloud. These things are on the cloud. They explicitly say that these things have a connection to the cloud, because they say it by refutation, because they say, oh, we don't store this data on the cloud, which means your software has the capability to do so, because obviously it's networked technology at this point. Never trust people with your ID. Ah. Oh, dear. Oh, my brain. We're living in Philip K. Dick's worst nightmare. Not even candy is safe. Yeah, I know. It's absurd. And this is one of the major things, is that the corporations and the governments have created a problem that they are selling the solution to, because, as somebody said before, is Azahara, I think, talking about anti-theft feature. There is no cloud, there is only someone else's hard drive. Yeah, precisely. When he talked about anti-theft, is that theft is so rampant now in the United States that companies are now bringing out facial recognition technology, and you have cases where stores refuse to let you into their establishments unless you let yourself be photographed by a camera that then stores your facial recognition data. So that then, if you steal from the store, they know exactly who was in the store and how to prosecute them. So they have manufactured the problem with all these loose laws, which mean that you can walk into a store and you can steal from it with no consequences, and now they are selling you the solution. And the solution is, oh, just have this facial recognition. There is no privacy, so there's no stealing because we can track everybody down. Which it's not a solution. It's fascism. It's just unacceptable corporate fascism, and I hate it. This is why I am very much a rural person, and I never intend to live in the cities. I never intend to live in the cities. Oh. But anyway, guys, I have covered pretty much everything that I want to cover on this stream now with that wonderful M&M stuff. So I think, unless anybody else has something they would like me to bring up or discuss, and it can also wait till Wednesday, I am probably going to end stream around here. And as to refresh for anybody that wasn't at the start of the stream, I am now carefully working on getting the new forum set up. We have the data imported. We have, now this is closer to a KGB tier dystopia, but gayer. What's that Rorschach quote? I expected this world to be so cruel and evil. I didn't expect it to be this gay and stupid. Oh, my cold feet. It's so cold out here. But yes, as an update on the forum, the forum's data from a week ago is now uploaded to the new server, and I am working on getting it all implemented. Proc, what's even worse is biometric. Let's take fingerprints, for example, on phones is typically stored as a hash, not the full fat scan. It's a hash. They don't need that facial recognition tech to actually store the scans if they want to keep the data on a culprit. Yeah, they don't need it. They don't need this thing. They are selling you the consequence. They are selling you a solution to the problem that they made. And yeah, I intend to stream regularly at this time on both Mondays and Wednesdays, regardless if there is any streaming drama going on. Mostly it's going to be Kirst stuff, like I'm going to be looking at news articles and so on that I find interesting. And we'll see how that goes. We'll really see how that goes. And now I am going to go and get something to eat. I really do appreciate that all of you people have been with me all of this time. You, for some reason, still consider me worthy of watching. Oh dear. So I am going to say goodnight to all of you, and I'm going to go indoors. I'm going to have something nice and warm to eat, and I'm going to stand by a very hot fire for a while. So good night now. And again, Dizzy, if you're watching, I want to collab with you. Fishman, €1,000. They will be yours if you agree that I can have a collab with Dizzy, right? Okay, Fishman, we have that deal. It's on the table. Good night. Good night, everybody. Please take care.